Welcome back to day number 2 of the APP World Tour stop here in Santa Monica. I'm Bo Hodge along with Bo Nixon, and we have exciting races yesterday with the sprints. Today's long distance.
Yeah, today long distance racing. We can see the competitors getting out there in the water. We've got a GPS up on screen, which we'll be able to bring up for you during the day, during this race. But what an exciting day of racing yesterday it was, Bo.
Yeah, Connor Baxter came from behind to pass world champion Arthur Arukin, and he proclaimed Connor is back. So love the atmosphere from Connor Baxter. In April, she was just winning every single heat. She was so solid, and even in the final. But great to see Candace Appleby runner-up in yesterday's sprints.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see Candace back and racing. Her goal was to make the final, and she bettered that by placing second.
So we're going to be giving you many different angles, many different views of this 10-mile race from the Malibu Pier all the way to Santa Monica Pier. And we're watching our GPS right now. We're seeing a little bit of movement. They're still kind of packed together, so we don't really know if they have really started their race yet.
No, we can see them all trying to jostle for position here. Women and men looks like starting together on the start line.
Showing you a shot of our T-Mobile APP SUP pool. They've been doing yogas in the morning. They've been teaching the kids. They've been bringing this the T-Mobile wave pool all around the world. Hope to see it in London coming up in August. Let's go to highlights from yesterday on yesterday's sprints. Check this out. Well, if today's going to be any action like yesterday, Bo, we're not going to see, 4-minute rides here. We're going to see a long distance 10-mile run, so roughly, what, hour and a half?
I think about an hour and a half it'll take the competitors, but the conditions are a little foggy out there today, Bo. We've seen the fog creep in the mornings in the last few days, and it looks like it might be sticking around.
Yeah, we're watching on our GPS map. You can go over to racemap.com, tap on APP Tour, and you can follow the GPS tracking of all of our athletes. And we're going to be putting yellow jerseys on our winners from yesterday for April and for Connor. They've earned that right. They're so far in the lead. And we're watching our GPS signal. There it is. There's the distance. There's that Half Moon Bay from Malibu Pier to Santa Monica Pier. And these athletes are going to encounter some foggy marine layer conditions.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race for all the competitors. You can see starting off Malibu there, and the numbers on the line there, they indicate the mile numbers. So at each point we'll be able to bring you up to speed with where they are in the race and their positions.
There's a shot of the Santa Monica Pier and the amusement park on the pier. And if we can get Josh back into our booth, we are rebooting one of our computers right here. Thank you, Josh. So you can see the haziness behind the amusement park rides.
The power, yeah.
So still waiting for the feed over from the start line. We were looking at 11 o'clock start, but you know, athletes had to put boards in the trucks, had to move them down from Santa Monica over to Malibu. And so they're in the process, and we can see the athletes in the water, but have not seen a start yet. We're waiting for our feeds over through, and you can see the onshore wind starting to come in now.
It is starting to come in. This is a shot looking back towards Santa Monica. Obviously all the flags you see, they are flailing in the wind there. Infinity tents down there, quick blade. This is where the competitors will be finishing the long distance race today.
Yeah, yesterday we had a nice sunny day. We did have some foggy conditions early in the morning, but it got burned off. And today, a bit more overcast. Would that play a factor in the distance race, Bo?
I think it'd be a lot cooler for the competitors, which is a nice change from the heat of the sun. Just keep their energy levels high, but also maybe a bit of visibility coming into play as well. So we heard Michael Booth saying that he was going to be looking out for the Ferris wheel on Santa Monica Pier, but it might be a little hard for the athletes to actually see until they get at least a mile or two from the finish line.
Well, we got some experienced watermen on the boats, you know, so I doubt they would take them out to, you know, the outer islands off coast here. You know, they want to keep them in close to shore and just outside the surf zone. So, yeah, no problem with that. What's the problem with the guy with the white and blue starboard there in the middle?
Looks like he's riding it backwards, Bo.
He is riding it backwards. And he's letting Junior get a hold of the paddle.
That's it.
Nah, it's all fun. That's on the pier here, part of the U.S. Open of SUP. Don't forget, coming up, we've got more exciting races on the APP World Tour. 7 stops in total for the racing series, 3 stops for the SUP surfing series, and it's going to be a fantastic year with London coming up next, August 18th through the 21st. Then South Korea, September 23 to 25. And then back into Hawaii on the island of Maui, October 5th through the 9th. And then off to Europe. It'll be Paris, early December, December 2nd through the 4th. And then a new location to be determined, December 8th through the 10th, so back-to-back weeks. And then the final World Tour in Doha in Qatar, that'll be in February 8th through the 11th. So a busy year for the APP on the racing side. And for the SUP surfing, it'll get underway in Morocco on the dates of September 14th through the 18th. Back to the Gran Canary Islands, November 20th through the 27th, and then the year ending on Oahu, back in Hawaii at Sunset Beach Pro, January 18th through the 28th. That's 2023, but that'll be the last SUP surfing APP event for the 2022 year.
Yeah, good lineup of events for competitors this year.
And we're back onto our GPS map, and we're seeing they're still in the line. Now we've separated women up top and men down to the bottom. And you can see if you're on to racemap.com, tap on APP Tour, and go to the race map. Not only you'll see the names over by Malibu, but you can scroll on over to the left and click on Mo Freitas, click on Arthur Arukin, click on Connor Baxter, and find out, you know, exactly where they are.
It's a very cool interactive map we have.
As you're seeing on screen right now, you can see the men are in blue, the women will be in red. And we've actually given yellow jerseys to our sprint winners yesterday for April and for Connor.
As these competitors line up, they will be racing with a lot of other surf crafts out there as well today, Bo. So you might see other crafts on screen as we cross to our feed out in the water.
Yeah, there'll be prone paddle boards, where we saw a lot of that yesterday in the lifeguarding competition. You'll see surf skis. You'll see one-man outrigger canoes. Don't know if we have a 6-man or 4-man outrigger canoe racing, but we'll just have to wait and see.
You think Danny might jump in an OC halfway?
He would do everything. So we're going to be zooming out here, and we got mile markers. You can see they're way off the pier there in Malibu, outside the surf zone. So again, waiting confirmation for the start of the race. See, there's the mile markers on the GPS screen all the way to the 10th mile to the Santa Monica Pier, where you see the checkered flag as the finish. They'll run through the chicane, the APP chicane, the GoPro finish line.
It'll be interesting to see what line these athletes take, whether they are just going to head straight toward it or if they're going to paddle out a little bit further to see with that little light onshore breeze coming in. It will be interesting to see how they fare, but you can see that we can select the athlete on the left side in the racemap.com, and you can see the athlete's name pop up, check what they are on screen.
Now usually there's a computer chip on a Velcro strap down by their ankle, correct?
That's true, yeah. That's how we've been doing it in the past. We've had GPSs on boards in the past as well, but this time it looks like it's strapped to the athlete.
So you can follow your favorite athlete or follow the whole field, and we're seeing that they're still in a straight line, lined up, separated men and women. And Anthony Villa, he's the contest director. He's on the boat. He'll be talking to the athletes. All right, let's pick out the top dogs. Let's go with the women first. Who do you think, Bill?
The women. We chatted about it this morning, Bo, over breakfast, but I do feel like April Zilg is just on a roll at the moment. She's looking really strong. She was in front of all the races she competed in yesterday. She's definitely going to be a top contender, but I don't think we can rule out the young gun, Soren Preston, that we saw yesterday, place third, I think it was in the racing. So it's going to be a really enduring race, but I think it's going to be a tight field.
Okay, how about the men?
The men's side, I mean, we just have our top names, you know, Connor Baxter, Michael Booth, Arthur. We have Shrimpy as well, but I feel like Michael was saving himself in the sprints yesterday because the long distance is his main goal. And
we also got the wild card in today. Danny Ching is doing the distance race. He didn't do the sprints yesterday, but he's in for the distance, which is his forte.
It is his forte, exactly. And Danny Ching, obviously a legend of the stand-up paddling racing, competing one of the first events back in 2008. He's got so much experience, and I'm sure he's probably done this run a few times before.
Yeah, local knowledge will help. I asked Michael Booth yesterday if he did the course prior to training for this event. He goes, no, I've just been paddling in front of the Santa Monica Pier. So, you know, maybe, you know, some of the local kids here who are competing with some of the top pros and around the world, you know, they may lead, you know, these guys into the right way.
That's very true.
Still seeing our athletes still bunched up. So we're about, you know, 11:24 Pacific Daylight Time locally, and the race has not yet started. Here's the finish line area, and Dave Bainey's Infinity tents are there. Sandwich Island Composites, the SIC tents right there. Some of the manufacturers of the boards, and it's great to see some new designs on the boards.
Yeah.
A lot of dugouts. We're going to see more dugouts and more flat boards here in the distance race.
That's an interesting question. I know that Arthur is really comfortable on the flat deck boards, but I think we'll probably see a lot of dugouts. Just gives those competitors a bit more stability. They can go a little bit narrow with their boards, means it's going to get a little bit faster through the water as well. So yeah, a lot of these designs are playing a part, but it's really up to the athlete's personal preference and how comfortable they feel on their board.
Beautiful shot of the GoPro finish line. We move over to the T-Mobile APP SUP pool up here on the pier. And taking a look at our GPS here in the booth. There's still not a start yet, so we're still on standby. I don't know, maybe AV is giving these guys a little bit more time for this marine layer to burn off, but he's got to make a decision soon.
Yeah, it looks like they've been in a line for quite a while now, so I think we'll get a race start very soon. And we're looking for that live feed to come through from the boats out in the water of our athletes.
And it'll be interesting to see who teams up with who. You know, will Mo go with Connor? Will Arthur go with Boothie? You know, will Danny Ching bring some of his 404 guys with him? You know, will there be, you know, kind of like you know, the Tour de France, you know, where the team races, you know, these guys know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes they like to use that to their advantages.
Definitely, and it'll be interesting to see if they do take them on a different path to what they're actually planning to do, and then shoot off in another direction and leave the other competitors to wonder where they are in the race. But it is going to come down to a lot of tactics here, and I think we probably see the men bunched up together. I know that the top guys, Danny Ching, Connor Baxter, they're definitely going to be pushing out in front, and I think their field just behind them might even just follow their lead and follow where they're off to.
Yeah, you can see Connor Baxter next to Danny Ching, right in the middle. And Mo Freitas way down on the bottom. And that's where Arthur and Boothie are.
That's right, Shrimpy's right there as well.
Shrimpy's with Arthur. So where's Boothie?
Boothie's down here with Mo. Yeah,
he's there with Mo, so they're overlapping right there.
That's right, Arthur and Shrimpy. Then we also see Eri Tenorio and Itzel Delgado next to each other.
Yeah, I had a great talk with Mo Freitas after the awards ceremony and asked Mo if he was going to do the whole tour, and he says, well, now I'm a full-time lifeguard on the North Shore of Oahu that takes precedence of competing, but I do want to do a select few events. So it's great to see Mo back in, made the final of the sprints, going to make a statement here. He's a former ISA World Distance Champion, and it'd be great to see him if he can do even just half the tour.
That's right, and maybe even see him at some of the surf events too. Watching Mo surfing as well is always a fantastic sight to see.
Yeah, he's a two-time race surf combo winner on the APP World Tour.
That's right, yeah, he crosses over disciplines very well, accomplished surfer as well. I remember competing against Mo back in 2011, 2012. He was just 17 or 16 years of age, taking on Sunset at 20 feet. It was impressive.
Yeah, he's got that local knowledge on the North Shore, and he's using that to help save lives, and he's working at the place where, you know, lifeguarding started on the North Shore with Eddie Aikau at Waimea Bay.
Yeah, that's a lot of history there as well for Mo, and it's great that he can become a lifeguard, and yeah, let's hope we do see him at events into the future.
Okay, you're seeing a little jockeying there. You see David Liao, who made the final in the sprints, kind of moving back with Jake Graham. See Franco and Arthur kind of moving back too. Maybe, you know, they want more of a straight line.
Shrimpy as well moving back.
Yeah.
I'd say Anthony Vella has these competitors just getting into a straight line, getting ready for the start.
So welcome to day number 2 of the APP World Tour Stop number 1. We're in Santa Monica for the $25,000 U.S. Open of SUP, event number 1 of 7 events for the 2022 year. And now we've got our drone shot. And thanks to Pat, our one of our great camera guys, and you see the competitors now live at the Malibu Pier. And we are almost ready for a start, Bo.
We are.
Well, Michael Booth, he's been the distance champion for the past couple of years, so we're going to hit start now. We're starting to see some of the athletes move up.
We're seeing the athletes, yeah, moving across our screen really quickly now, so we are starting.
You see a couple of Brazilians out in the lead right now. There's Danny Ching. Danny likes to be the rabbit. Michael Booth likes to be the rabbit. And the thing with Boothie is he'll always be the rabbit from mile 1 to mile 10. He has no low speeds.
He just wants to stay out in front, and if he's out in front, he's going to keep that position as long as he can. We see Danny Ching out in front. Michael Booth's coming up from the outside, trying to chase him as well.
Yeah, you see the Brazilians, they're working together with David and Eri. Mo Freitas right on top of Michael Booth too.
So it seems like we do have a separation here of the men and the women. The men running their own race. The women are probably going to jump in behind them. Maybe we might even see some drafting here in this race. There's probably not too much wind just yet, so we might see them competitors bunch up.
Well, we're just 1 minute into the race right here as we're watching on the GPS. You can go there too, racemap.com, toggle on APP Tour, and then zoom in as much as you want. So it was an 11:30 start. So we're just about 2 minutes into this race, or a minute and a half.
We actually see Arthur Arukin as well, making his charge out toward the front. This is just the time of the race where they're just jockeying for position, getting used to how their body's feeling, seeing how they are against the other competitors in this race. They're all bunched together at the moment, so we're going to see that separation as we come into mile 2, mile 3, mile 4.
Well, Arthur Arukin was runner-up to Michael Booth in 2019 in the distance racing. Booth, who just dominated that series, but Arthur, a better sprinter, finishing in second place, and no Casper Steinfath, our defending world champion, electing to recoup and recover after SUP paddling his country of Denmark.
Yeah, 1,500 kilometer circumnavigation around Denmark, and then straight into his 24-hour race, the Red Bull Midsummer Viking Challenge. So Casper's resting up for that, as we still see Danny Ching leading the pack in the men. And if we cross back over to the women, we have, this looks like Abby Baker, Lena Ribeiro out in front for the women. Behind them, Soren Preston and Candice Appleby.
And April with Abby.
April, that's right. April's behind, yeah.
And April just coming off a good big win over the Carolina Cup. Back to the men, you know, the old battle of the paddles at Doheny Beach and morphed into the Pacific Paddle Games. Danny Ching would always like to go out fast early in those big races, and that's his home court. And right here in Malibu, he's the California kid. And like you said, Bo, he's probably done this run hundreds of times.
That is
and
so
probably
true.
Hundreds of times in different equipment. Outrigger 1, probably in a surf ski, probably in a 6-man outrigger, and most notably on his 404 equipment of his SUP board.
Of course, yeah. Danny, accustomed to even longer distance races than this is, so this could be a walk in the park for a few of our athletes here. They're such used to just the long distance, but being only a 10-mile race, quite nice conditions out there today. We should see them really close together, a really tight race.
Well, they're coming up on the first mile. We see Danny Ching, Michael Booth, Itzel Delgado, and was Mo Freitas in that group too?
Mo Freitas is up in the front there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Connor Baxter, you know, the usual suspects right here. Some of the best in the world. Now, what about drafting? What is the rule for distance here for drafting?
For drafting, you can be behind them, but you obviously cannot touch boards with the person in front. That's kind of just a rule that's just you don't do. Bad sportsmanship. But yeah, drafting is obviously a huge advantage if you can get behind someone paddling behind their board. You're sitting in their wake and you're using less energy. It's much more efficient on you paddling, but you also need to make sure that you are switching up with the person in front, making sure you're taking your turn to lead that pack of drafting. But we're going to probably see some breakaways today if people are drafting out there.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if there's a north course or a south course.
Yes.
You know, we've seen that at Doheny Beach. We've seen that in the Molokai to Oahu channel crossings in many different crafts, whether it's SUP, prone, outrigger 6-man, or OC1, outrigger 1-man. We're seeing Danny Ching really taking an aggressive line and trying to break away from the draft line.
Yeah, Itzel Delgado, though, is right behind Danny in second position at the moment.
Shrimpy's there. Mo Freitas, Michael Booth, David Leal, the Brazilian who made the final in the sprints yesterday. Connor Baxter.
You start to see this competitor is actually moving out toward sea a little bit.
Yeah, and we're getting to that 1 mile mark. You see that number 1 just up above the men. We'll zoom in for you right there. That's the 1 mile mark, and we'll have the breakdowns. And right now, we're approaching 6 minutes. So 6 minutes a mile. These guys.
That is moving.
There are athletes who can't run 6-minute miles.
That's right.
And these guys are powering, so they must have favorable conditions.
I think they would have favorable conditions out there. Obviously, Anthony Vella's setting up this course to use that wind to the advantage for the competitors, making it a little bit of a downwind course. We did see that onshore wind pick up yesterday, so we might even see it a little bit today, which will help them.
Let's go to the women and see how the women are doing. I'm just curious, how's Candace Appleby doing?
Seems Candace is out in front of the women's race right at the moment.
Get out of here.
But I'd say April Zilger's right next to her, along with Abby Baker. Stephanie Schindler is right behind as well. So a very tight race for the women. They're trying to catch up to the men there, getting behind that train.
Well, there's another local girl from San Clemente, Candace Appleby. She's probably done this run a lot.
She would have done this run quite a bit, I'd say, in lead up to this event. But also lots of different paddling around this area as well for Candace. Lots of experience at different beaches, different events.
So you can see on screen Candace on the lower end and April up top. You see Lena just above them. Abby Baker, like you said, Bo. Stephanie Scheidler, and we've got Jessie DeHaime, who made the finals yesterday in the sprints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's in 6th place for the women.
Yeah, tight race for the women as well.
Yeah.
Like we said, this first mile or two is just to get there, feel how their bodies are, and get into a bit of a rhythm, and then we'll start to see the pack start to split away.
Well, Danny Ching, a Battle of the Paddle winner, Pacific Paddle Games winner, ISA gold medal winner. I mean, he's chalked them off a lot of races,
He has a large list of accomplishments to his name, indeed.
He's done sporadic APP World Tour events around the world. And of course, being in his home state here, we're happy to see Danny competing out here. And look at Boothie.
Yeah, Boothie's running his own race here. It seems like he's taking that inside line.
Yeah, he's taking the south course. So I knew someone was going to go north. I knew someone was going to south. And now we have our answer, but no one's going with Boothie.
No one's going with Boothie, which is very interesting. I think Boothie likes that about it. He can run his own races. No one's going to get into his head. He's going to power on. But we see that Danny Ching, Connor Baxter, Shrimpy, Mo Freitas, all out there following Danny. And that might work to their advantage. They might be able to save some energy through drafting. But it is an open ocean course, so it might be a little bit bumpy out there now. The wind might be picking up a little bit. Let's hope we can show you guys some shots from the boat and the drone footage as well. Give you a great idea of the competitors.
So we roughly started about 11:30. We're about 9 minutes into this race, a 10-mile race from the Malibu Pier to the Santa Monica Pier. See, they crossed that 1 mile marking. So you can see going along the Pacific Coast Highway all the way down past Will Rogers State Beach Park into Santa Monica State Beach Park. But depending on the athletes with the fog, maybe they can't see the coast.
Maybe they can't see the coast, but a spectacular bit of coastline paddling along there. But all these athletes would have their eyes just set on the Santa Monica Pier.
Now we're getting some shots from the athletes. You can see the train right there. There's the 404, Danny Ching out in the lead on that green board.
So it looks like Itzel Delgado. They're in second on that Infinity.
Yep. There's a starboard in third. It could be Connor Baxter.
Yeah, maybe. That might be Ari. I'd say that's actually Mo Freitas in second.
Okay.
My apologies, on the Infinity. Itzel's just a little bit behind.
A little stuttery there from the drone shot, but we can actually see our leaders right now. That might be Michael Booth in the white over to the right.
He's over there, that's right. Looks like even...
Boothie's way south. Way south. as we look back on our GPS. So that was probably another broken part of the draft.
Maybe even Arthur Arukin at the back there.
So Arthur started with Boothie, but he kept on to the Danny Ching train.
Seems like he's in that middle position. He might have thought he wanted to peel off with Michael Booth, but he's going to stick with the main crowd and try and get to that drafting train.
Yeah, there you go. You see how south, on the top of your screen where Michael Booth is. And he's actually in the lead right now. Danny Ching is pulling, the cast of top athletes around the world. Mo Freitas, Connor Baxter, Isel Delgado. And here we go from the boat cam. Look at the technique. Look at the arc in their back, and they're getting every stroke full.
That's right. They're making sure they're putting lots of power into that stroke. They've also got to save their body. This is an endurance race. They're only just past that 1 mile mark, so it's still a good 8.5 miles to go.
Well, this answers our question. You can't see the coast.
You cannot see the coast.
You can see the coast.
You can't see the mountains.
You can't see the mountains, but at least you can see the coast.
That's right, exactly.
Because we were worried, Friday when we came in, Bo, it was so thick, you couldn't even see, half mile away.
No, you couldn't at all. But it'd be interesting to see if you can see ahead of these competitors. We've got obviously the surf skis out there as well. The OC1 competitor there up with the leading pack of the US Open of SUP paddleboard long distance race. But if we can see, maybe we can see Michael Booth in the distance there.
Oh, he's way in the distance. So this is the lead group.
You can see Connor Baxter in that yellow.
So who you got there? You got Danny.
So we got Danny. Shrimp, he looks like he's up there. Mo Freitas, Connor Baxter, obviously in that yellow jersey. Arthur Arukin just behind him. Itzel Delgado, Eric Tenorio. Really great list of athletes there. I'd say they're in that long train. Looks like quite calm conditions out there, Bo, as well.
Yeah, a lot calmer this morning from the last 3 days that we've been here.
So there's not too much texture on the water just yet. These athletes here, we can see we have one athlete right out in front.
That's probably Danny Ching.
It is Danny Ching. And those athletes behind are going to be fighting to really keep up. Looks like Michael Booth has moved into that train with the rest of the athletes.
Could that be Boothie over by the OC1 guy?
Could be.
Here we go. The yellow jersey, that is Connor Baxter.
It is.
I believe that's Mo Freitas behind him.
That's right. I think actually that's Danny Ching on the 404.
Okay.
He's in a yellow shirt. And right behind him might even be Michael Booth. So Danny Ching, Michael Booth.
So Boothie went south, and you decided to join the crowd.
Looks like he's joined the train.
But you know what? He tested the waters there.
He did, yeah. I think he might.
No one came with him.
He might have been testing to see if someone did.
Yeah.
And then he would have left him.
The old Michael Ho approach.
Yes.
I'll paddle you out to third reef pipe. I'm going back into second reef pipe. But there you go. You see Danny Ching and Michael Booth. You see Shrimpy there. Let's go back to our drone shot. Bit of a breakaway from the train that we saw just about 5 minutes ago.
If we take a look back at the women's race, we have Candice Appleby and April Zilg. That was number 1 and 2 from yesterday in the sprints, taking the lead in the long distance here. Candice just sneaking out in front.
Well, that would be exciting if Candice can win the distance and April takes second. They would be tied heading into London.
That's very
on
true.
Total points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if both of these competitors are going to do the full season of stops on tour this year.
Yeah, we're showing you the women's race right there, and Candice
and April are right on top of each other.
Yeah, they're right on top of each other. This back to the men on screen. That looks like Michael Booth.
It does look like Michael Booth on the starboard there.
Love his technique. He's just an amazing athlete. And you see an OC1 competitor paddling with this group. Danny Ching in the green 404 board there.
that would look like we have Michael Booth out in front, as we do.
So Boothie went south, came up a little north to join the crowd, but he's kind of in his own little area, isn't he?
He is his own little zone there, of course. Danny Ching, and then behind him, looks like it might even be...
So there's Connor Baxter in yellow.
Connor's in yellow.
There's Mo Freitas behind Connor. So from left to right, you see Mo, Connor.
I'm thinking that might even be Shrimpy.
So Shrimpy's in third place right now, behind Danny Ching in second, and Michael Booth out in the lead.
Michael, again, he's taking that south track. He's really paddling away from the other competitors. We can see on our GPS, but you can also see it on screen.
I'm thinking that's Anthony Villa on the OC1. He just wants to keep up with the leaders. No, it's a competitor. All the competitors wearing white jerseys, whether they're on an OC1, a surf ski, a prone paddleboard, or a SUP board. But we did give yellow jerseys to our sprint winners yesterday, to April and to Connor. And you can see Connor and Mo easily stroking. You look at Danny, he's in a cadence.
Yeah, you can see they're not going too hard just yet. They're saving their energy for that finish line. Mo there, you can see he was just easily paddling. And behind Mo, looks like that was the nose of Arthur Arukin's board. There it is there. So Arthur Arukin right behind Mo.
So we're just passing the 2 mile mark. Looking good for these guys and girls. Candace and April still leading the pack for the women. But we're following the men right now. We'll keep you updated, both men and women's races. There we go. There's Candace Appleby and April just behind her. And then there's a pack of like 4 to 6 girls from second to 8th place there.
Right behind, yeah. If we can zoom in on those names. Abby Baker, Stephanie Schidler, Juliana Gonzalez, Lena Ribeiro, and Juliette DeHeim. So quite a number of athletes there, just behind the leaders being Candace and April.
Yeah, we see Aline from Brazil. She's a little bit on the south side of that pack.
And then Gianni Saveco just on the south side of them, and then Soren Preston, the young gun.
Yeah, so impressed with Soren making the sprint final yesterday. How exciting was that for her?
That was really exciting to see her come through the ranks.
13 years of age.
13 years of age.
Competing with the women's world's best. All right, Boothie now being caught up by that lead pack of Danny Ching. And Danny may have Boothie there. That's Ching,
So, yeah,
Shrimpy, Connor Baxter, Mo Freitas,
Arthur
Arukin. So people are saying, watch our Japanese competitor. He's had a good year of competition.
Very good year of competition. He's had a lot of experience in the on the Euro Tour. He's been over there. He's been competing with the likes of Michael Booth, another Australian over there, Ty Judson, and a few other top competitors. So he's getting his experience. Young 16-year-old from Japan. Grew up in a fisherman family, so his father's a fisherman, always spending time on the water. I have read a story that he was throwing fishing nets from his SUP board, and that's how he kind of learned to SUP.
So you see where the pack is right now. We're between mile marker 2 and 3. And we're 19 minutes, 24 seconds, unofficial time there, into this race. And this pack of men and women are all staying together.
They are all staying together.
There's Boothie.
He's well, it looks like he's well out in front. He's in his element right now.
So he went south, he came back north, he went back south again.
He was just testing, he just wanted to know what it felt like to be with the pack. He's like, no, this isn't for me. I'm going to paddle out in front, and you can see with just that camera zooming out that he's well in front of the next competitors in the OC1, and then right behind them, there we are, we have Danny Ching, Connor Baxter in the yellow, Shrimpy, Mo, and Arthur.
So you see the water refreshments there on Danny Ching. He's got the backpack, the camelback maybe.
That's right.
Others wear them around their waist. There's many different styles and techniques. I know when I started doing long distance SUP runs, I would get chafed by the backpack underneath my arm. So I preferred the waist one because there was no chafing there. But every once in a while you would bump it with your paddle and your hand. But to each their own preference.
That's exactly right. Exactly. I think the backpacks have just they've gotten a lot better, a lot thinner, slimmer. carry a bit more water in there as well. So these competitors obviously making sure that they are staying hydrated for this race. Although it's overcast, it's cool outside, it takes a lot out of you to be paddling 10 miles.
Yeah, we're approaching mile marker number 3. Men and women competing day number 2, the APP stop number 1, the $25,000 U.S. Open of SUP. We'd like to thank our sponsors, T-Mobile, more 5G bars in more places. Also, Volkswagen Santa Monica, June Shine, and GoPro. And there's our GoPro finish line. Our male and female winners will be running up there to there. Right here at Santa Monica on the main pier.
Yeah, you see those flags starting to flutter in the wind there. Still foggy at the finish line. As we look back at the GPS, Michael Booth still leading their own race.
Carter Campbell, one of the young guns from North Carolina in that pack of women.
Yeah, looking back into the women's race, Candice and April still out in front there. And we still have that same group of women just behind them, staying right close to them.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's a pack of 5 right there.
Be great to get a shot of them if we can see on the water. And behind them we still have some men and some women there. So Rafael Apodaca, who didn't show yesterday in the sprints, he's competing today in the long distance. He's a Mexican surfer coach as well from Sayulita.
See on screen the women's leaders right there, Candice and April. Neck and neck, shoulder to shoulder right there. 1 and 2, and they were 1 and 2 in the sprints yesterday.
That's right. Yeah, experience definitely paying off out there today. Both of these ladies in the lead. As we switch back to the men's race, looks like Connor has made his way up to 2nd, and Danny might have even fell back to 3rd. We've got Shrimpy leading the train at the moment.
Yeah, but Boothy's still on the side, isn't he?
Boothy's still way out in front.
Yeah. Boothy's still. So this is that main train close to the boats, the TV cameras. So Shrimpy, Connor Baxter, Mo Freitas in that group. Yep.
Yeah, Mo Freitas, and maybe looks like
Danny's pulled back. He said, hey, I pulled you guys for the first 3 miles. Someone take a turn. And Shrimpy's taking a turn right now.
Yeah, we also have Itzel Delgado and Eric Tenorio, Bodie von Arman as well, making a charge toward that front pack. Looks like Arthur Aruka, now 2019 world champion's fallen back a little bit.
You can see down south towards the surf zone, that's Michael Booth in that white jersey. If you look at Shrimpy there to his back left.
That's right, Bo. You can see Michael Booth in the background there. It's an interesting tactic here because these athletes are conserving their energy using that draft train. But Michael Booth is just that powerhouse that wants to stay out in front.
Every channel, every distance race, especially with the ocean, you got to know the tides. We are going to a lower tide, and you got to know the situation in the water of the local event, whether swells, incoming swells, outgoing swells. And it's always, you're going to go head north, you're going to head south. You know, it happens on the Molokai race, happens on the Maliko run, happens Turtle Bay to Haleiwa runs, or Haleiwa to Mokuleia runs on Oahu. There are tactics and there are a reason for the madness, you know?
That's very, very true. And especially this stretch of coastline is very open to currents. We know that Chris Burditch is actually wing foiling from the mainland US to the Hawaiian Islands at the moment. He's done a few YouTube videos on the conditions that you can expect around this coastline here, the winds, the tides, the currents. So these competitors obviously having a bit to deal with out there today.
Well, here's an update on Chris. He's embattled every condition possible. Now he's in the doldrums.
Oh, right, okay.
He's in the doldrums right now. He's going, I've had windy, I've had current, I've had, you know, flip overs, I've had everything. Now I'm in the doldrums.
And it's not windy.
All right, back to our screen and our GPS. I love going back and forth because, you know, you see some things, but look at these guys working together. Shrimpy in the lead of this train. Connor Baxter in yellow, look, getting some water. There's Danny Ching behind him in the 404 board. And then the Mo Freitas and the Infinity board down back behind Danny. And there, look, Danny was just looking back at Mo. And these guys are spaced well. They're not tail to rail, you know, nose to tail. I mean, they're given a lot of room in between.
I think just with those bumpier conditions, it's good to give themselves a little bit of distance between. Obviously, you don't know if the wave's going to push you into the competitor in front. But we do see Arthur Arukin there. He's in that top train.
Yep. Now on that red Fanatic board. And looks like Connor Baxter has just made a move over Shrimpy.
Yeah, we can see on the GPS here that Connor is overtaking Shrimpy. Still with Michael Booth taking that south track just ahead, only slightly.
So we're between mile marker 3 and 4 right now. And Franco, even more south.
Yeah,
so we just passed that 3 mile marker, and we're 26:34 into this race.
And then looking back at the women's race, still same situation back there. Candice and April still in that lead. Stephanie, Lena, Abby, Juliet, and Juliana all in that pack just behind them.
So on these distance races, Bo, where's the wall? You know, you hear about the marathoner running 26.2 miles, and the wall could be anywhere from 18 to the end. You know, for these guys, a 10-miler, that's a distance.
It is a distance.
Could these guys be hitting a wall at some portion of this race?
I feel 6 and 7 mile mark is a key in this 10-mile race. These competitors would have went out hard at the start to try and jostle for position, get in these trains, and they just want to make sure they are staying in rhythm with their bodies. But definitely by mile 6, mile 7, even mile 8, these competitors are going to be really starting to feel it.
Now we see Arthur Arukin in this pack of trains. So Connor Baxter, looks like Danny Ching, Arthur Arukin, and who's behind him? Is that Shrimpy?
That's Shrimpy there behind Arthur. So these competitors obviously in the train jostling for position, but they're just talking with themselves. Definitely they are communicating, saying, look, I'm not going to be leading anymore, I'm going to drop back. And then Connor will mention that to Danny, and Danny will move forward. Arthur will probably step up and lead that train for a little bit in this race.
Now Mo Freitas has fallen off this train.
He has fallen off. If we have a look at our GPS here, we can see that Mo's just back a little bit, and there's another train that's happening just behind these competitors. That's Itzel Delgado, Eri Tenorio, and Mo Freitas.
As we zoom in on our GPS, you can still see Michael Booth down south in the lead, but we're gonna zoom in on this pack of trains. See, there's Danny being led by Connor Baxter and Arthur Arukin, the 2018 APP World Champion. And when we were looking at the World Champion list of the year Arthur Arukin won, he did not win the sprint title. He did not win the distance title. The sprints title of that year, Arukin's championship year 2018, Connor Baxter won the sprints and Michael Booth won the distance. But Arthur had enough points to be the overall winner of that year.
Enough top placings in the finals events to get the top spot.
And our defending champion, Casper Steinfath, he won the sprints where Boothie won the distance. And Casper not at this event, but we hope to see him in London.
I think we will see Casper in London. Obviously, he's just recovering from his circumnavigation around Denmark. As we still got our eyes on that top pack of men there. Obviously, Michael Booth is taking that south track out in front a little bit. And it looks like we have Danny Ching that stepped up to take the lead here in this track.
Arthur Arukin's making a move too. He's passing Connor Baxter. Connor was leading that last train.
I think Danny's decided to put in some hard strokes, and he's getting a little bit of a lead on these competitors.
Yeah, so this is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now, what you're seeing on screen. Michael Booth, he's in the distance towards the shore.
Really glassy conditions out there for the paddlers today. Not going to get much help from the wind. So they'll be paddling really hard, really strong to be able to get through.
Can these athletes overheat?
They can overheat, definitely. Definitely. They're keeping up a strong cadence, using a lot of energy in their body. They're going to make sure they're staying hydrated to cool themselves down. But luckily that fog layer is just keeping the sun at bay, so the competitors can stay a little bit cooler.
Look at the distance between Danny and Michael Booth. If you go back to your GPS screen, Maybe Boothie's found a little secret heading down south. We'll take you to the front. Look at that.
And like you said, Bo, he hasn't done this section of coast before.
No. And I was curious, and I was shocked that he didn't. And knowing Boothie, he puts in 10 miles every day, you know? Why not do a trial run of the course? And right now, it's paying off. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see at the end.
Yeah.
Was it Danny's Northern Trail or was it Boothie's Southern Trail? He's going to win the distance race here at Santa Monica.
But all these athletes, apart from Danny Ching, who wasn't in the sprints yesterday, did very well. Obviously, Connor Baxter winning in that yellow jersey in the sprint racing. Shrimpy just missing out on that final position.
Oh, it was that semi-final between
right.
Mo Freitas and Shrimpy, right?
Yeah,
Shrimpy dove down, and there goes Arthur Arukin. He's going to take a turn leading this train. Danny's going to go back to fourth here in this train group.
So this is just where those guys are communicating, just chatting with themselves. They'll probably stick together for the majority of this race, and then we'll see some breakaways right toward the end.
Okay, half hour in, 31 minutes, almost 32 minutes in, and we're at the 4 mile mark.
Here we go. So making good time. We're saying an hour and a half.
8-minute miles. So
it is.
they went out on that first lap roughly around 6-minute miles.
Yeah.
So you're seeing how you said earlier they wanted to get position. Now they're pulling back, and now we're seeing 2 minutes more on their time per mile.
Very true. Bo Hodge, of course, with his stopwatch here.
Comes in handy.
Does, keeping us all updated with the timings. It's fantastic to know that.
I had a second one too, and I started it at 11 o'clock. This is behind the scenes because we didn't know if the race had started. It was supposed to be 11 o'clock start, and we actually started at 11:30. So I was just prepared if we did have an 11 o'clock start.
Very well done.
But we saw through the GPS and through our cams that the athletes were just getting into the water around that time. We had some late entries in some of the open divisions, so that's why we had a half-hour delay. And I think, you know, looking offshore here, some of the marine layer is burning off on the coast.
That's good to know. Seems like it's still hanging around the mountains there in the background of that footage we can see. But
yeah, let's go back out to the water. Arthur Arukin in second place leading this train. Looks like Shrimpy in third place. There's the yellow jersey, the sprint winner yesterday from Maui, Connor Baxter, and Danny Ching in fifth place, fourth in this train, in this race. He just took a turn leading all these guys. So all 4 of these guys taking turns.
yeah, it's great to see that they are sharing the load. That competitor at the front obviously putting in a lot of extra energy to be able to power these other guys along. Obviously Danny Ching getting the most easiest paddling in this train, being at the back.
But he's been the leader of multiple trains before this.
That's right, so he's got a bit of chance to rest now. As we see
Shrimpy
making a move to lead the train. Arthur's led that for a good 5 minutes there.
His real name is Shuri Araki, but everyone calls him Shrimpy.
Yeah, affectionately known as Shrimpy. A Japanese competitor. Michael Booth still in the distance there. I'm not sure we can see him on screen, but he's out there somewhere.
Can't see him on the screen. We can see him on the GPS. We know he's still there. There he is on the GPS. See Franco also taking that southern line, and now David Tiago. He's taking that southern line too. Candace and April, you see them still leading the women's race. As they've passed mile marker 3, they're about 3.5 miles into their race.
Interesting to see who's leading that train with the girls there. And even if we just jump back from that, it looks like there has been a bit of a split for the competitors. Lena Ribeiro's dropped back. We have Stephanie Schidler and Abby Baker in that third and fourth position. So the women really keeping up with the men in this race. As we can see on screen, that train again. Remember, this is second, third, fourth, and fifth competitors. And right behind them, we have a sixth competitor there making the charge up. So this is going to be Eri Tenorio from Brazil. He's making a charge to catch up to that train, which he has done.
Okay, at the 4 mile mark, heading towards mile marker 5. Topeka County Beach in that area. As you can see on the GPS.
If we can zoom in, we'll see that Mo Freitas has been left to be paddling alone.
Wow. Maybe Mo went out too hard, too fast? Or maybe yesterday took a lot out of him.
Maybe it did take a lot out of him yesterday. He definitely went hard. in the sprint racing.
And I don't know if you saw it because it wasn't on the webcast, but during the award ceremony, he leaped up 5 feet to get onto the stage and not walk on the steps.
No, he did.
He was full of energy. So yeah, there is Ari. He is caught up to this train.
That's a huge effort from Ari there to break away from Mo and Itzel to be able to catch this front train. Obviously, Michael Booth still out in front on that south track.
And we're starting to see separation between Connor Baxter and Arthur Arukin.
We are starting to see. I wonder if Danny Ching's going to maybe try and catch up to that lead pack there. We'll see if Arthur keeps dropping back or if he's going to stay up with Connor there.
So we talked about it at breakfast. Bo and I had a great breakfast over at the Great White Restaurant. And you had the Great White Breakfast.
I did have the Great White Breakfast.
I had the breakfast burritos. There's Michael Booth, all by himself.
He is putting in some really powerful strokes there. He wants to make sure he stays ahead of the rest. That was some great train footage we saw. We also see Franco Facine is he's taken that really inside track. So mile 4 they've passed. We'll see if that's going to pay off as they come in closer, but it looks like he might even be heading toward just before the Santa Monica Pier.
Now a train of 5. I mean, that took a lot for Ari to break away from Mo and get up to these guys, because it could be one of these guys in this group could win this race.
That's very, very true. And we'll see Ari just saving himself there at the end of the train. He may even lead this train for a little bit, but it won't be for a while because he's expended so much energy just trying to catch up.
Well, Arthur's powering right now. He doesn't want to get separated from Connor and Shrimpy.
No, if this train does separate, we'll definitely start to see some competitors pull in front.
Get you back on our GPS screen, showing you the whole field right now. And then we'll zoom in and show you our leaders, because there's stacks of blue names underneath blue names with these trains. You see the different courses that the different athletes are taking. And Boothie's got a substantial lead on that second pack.
He does, but just with that updated GPS there, it looks like he's making his way back over towards that train. Maybe thinking that he's using...
So he's merging back?
Merging back. He might be wanting to save a bit more energy as he comes into the finish.
Well, this is the second time he's done that.
It is the second time. I think he's just trying to test the field. Like we said, Boothie, known for going hard, going out in front, wants to keep that front position. And the women race as well. Candice and April still side by side. Behind them is now Stephanie and Abby.
So 2 packs of 2s for the ladies in the top 4, right?
Yeah,
and they got another
6.
another 2-pack back there. Who's behind them?
That's Juliana Gonzalez and Juliette DeHeim. As you see Jake Graham there as well, part of the men's race.
Well, Michael Booth in 2019, the last year that we had the APP World Tour, first place in London distance, second place in the New York distance, first place in Osaka distance, first place in the Paris distance. So
that's a lot of firsts, though.
He had 3 firsts and 1 second. Arthur Arukin was the only other paddler to beat Boothie in New York City, and that was the race around the Statue of Liberty.
Very iconic stop where the APP went to in New York.
Connor Baxter had an off year that year, pretty much starting his own family in 2019, wasn't he?
That's right, he was too. And yeah, his son Tressel, he's just just a little, I don't know, just a little toddler. He's just running around.
He's a Charger now.
He's a Charger, of course.
He is Connor Jr.
Yeah, very true.
He is totally Connor Jr. Here's the finish line area. Welcome to Santa Monica Pier, Santa Monica Beach, hosting the inaugural APP Stop #1 Tour, the U.S. Open of SUP. Yesterday were the sprints. Connor Baxter winning for the men, April Zig winning for the women. And now day number 2 of this exciting competition a long distance paddle from Malibu Pier all the way to Santa Monica Pier. 10 miles. 16K, 17K roughly?
Yeah, 16 kilometers. Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty, in the ballpark on my estimates.
Yeah.
But when we were talking baseball and cricket, that's where you lose me. How come it takes 2 weeks for one cricket match to conclude?
It's about the game, and no, they have different days. Obviously, a test match runs over a number of days. Both teams have to bat, have to bowl. There's a lot to get through.
Excuse me there. All right, we're approaching mile marker 5, 41 minutes and a half into this race.
Yeah, situation is still similar. We actually see a couple more men. Itzel Delgado, Bodie Von Allman, taking that southern track to try and catch up to Michael Booth. And Mo Freitas just behind him.
So, first, 6, 7, 8, 9th Mo Freitas right now. So he was in that top 5 group and just couldn't keep up with them. And who's out behind Mo?
So behind Mo, we have Tim Oliver, David Liao, who was our finalist yesterday in the sprints.
Yeah, David had a hard, fast start in the beginning too.
He did have a really fast start. He was up there with the top competitors, but just falling back. Then Jake Graham has made a bit of a charge. He was behind Candice and April there, but he's made his way in front along with Campbell Carter.
So April and Candice still neck and neck,
Still
side
neck
by
and neck.
side?
Side by side. Looks like
Or near-
Candice might be leading that.
Okay.
She's been leading that train for a little bit.
And who's third, fourth right now
So
for the
third,
women?
So Stephanie Schindler and Abby Baker, third and fourth, and behind them, Juliana Gonzalez and Juliette Duheim. But Aline Adesaka is on that south track as well, so behind her, Giannis Aveco. Both competitors going to be trying catching up to that pack, and hopefully we might see the women's race on our screen.
See Dan Miller in the mix there. And Tiago, way south.
Tiago's way south, and Franco Facina is actually above him.
Even further south of
Yeah.
him. That's right. So thank you for tuning in to appworldtour.com. I'm Bo Hodge along with former competitor Bo Nixon. We are Bo Squared. And Candice goes, hey, we have a C Squared. I go, who's your C Squared? She goes, Connor and Candice. And when Connor won yesterday, he goes, now I get it. Now I know why Candice called you guys Bo Squared, because you guys, we spell our name B-E-A-U the same. But this Bo over here, born in Australia, lives in England. I was born in North Carolina, so thus the southern name. So I don't know how you got a southern name like mine all the way down in south of Australia, but eventually moved to Hawaii, and that's where my home roots are. And welcome to our little abode over here on the Santa Monica Pier. An exciting day of racing. Tristan Boxford's been working 3 hard years to getting the APP World Tour back together. Not only the racing with 7 stops, but more your forte, the SUP surfing, 3 stops coming up this year.
Exactly. It's been a long break with COVID over the past couple of years, but it's great to see racing back here at the Santa Monica Pier, as we can see down on the beach there. This is where the athletes will be finishing up the long distance race today. We'll see the competitors crossing the APP chicane.
So tell us about the SUP tour this year.
So SUP tour this year. So in September 14th, we'll be in Morocco. And that's going to be a really great event. We've been in Morocco in 2015, I believe. So return to competition there.
Rights or lefts there at the break of Morocco?
A lot of rights in Morocco.
Okay.
I personally wasn't there for the event before, but we'll see that return there. And then Gran Canaria, November, finishing off in your home spot, Sunset Beach.
Sunset Beach on the North Shore. That'll be happening in January 2023, but still part of the 2022 year ends. Okay, let's go back to the GPS and see where our leaders are. And who do you got out in the lead?
Out in front, still Michael Booth holding that top position. He's actually made his way back out a little bit onto that northern track, so we'll start to see him getting closer to those other athletes in Shuri Araki, Shrimpy, Connor, Arthur Arukin, Danny Ching.
Where's our Brazilian in that pack?
Looks like he's dropped right back behind Tim Oliver here, unless the GPS is not
Here,
caught
go.
up.
Break those guys up. So
Yeah,
three
it's just
three guys
three
in
guys.
in that loop. So as we see the pack there, we are 45 minutes into this contest. Let's take a short commercial break, and when we come back, more second half exciting action here from Santa Monica Pier. You're watching the APP World Tour live at appworldtour.com. Oh.
Sugar's been tearing up this town for far too long. Dodge the sugar with June Shine's new canned cocktails.
Give me your worst and you'll get my best. 'Cause I don't know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't know how to back down, how to back down. I am a fighter, 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 fighter. I am a fighter, 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 fighter.
Welcome back to the APP World Tour stop number 1, Santa Monica, the host of the U.S. Open of SUP. I'm Bo Hodge along with Bo Nixon bringing you this exciting action. We're 48 minutes into our long distance race, race number 2, day number 2 competition. As we see on our GPS screen, we're past the halfway point. We passed the halfway of 5 miles. 5 miles in, 5 miles to go. And we've seen some strategies here. And it looks like Michael Booth has caught. He's gone from the south side to the north side, back to the south side to the north. Does he lose mileage or timing by crossing that purple line?
He definitely does lose quite a bit of time and mileage, or he gains a lot of mileage when he's doing that. I think he was just trying to figure out his line, where he was going to take, but if you do veer off, obviously that straight line direction is going to be the quickest from A to B. And if you decide to S across that line, it means you're going to add time, add miles. But Michael Booth looks like he's still in the lead. He looks like that train might even caught up to him. We do see a number of athletes there.
So there's 3 men in that train. We got 13, 14.
So we got Shrimpy there. We also have Connor Baxter, and Eri Tenorio is in that pack. So Danny Ching maybe falling back a little bit.
Danny and Arthur.
And Arthur as well.
Danny's number 5. I think he must be amongst this group
He must
around
be,
there.
yeah. Unless he's on top of these competitors down here. But Michael Booth still leading the men's race. As we see, just Candice Appleby on screen there, alongside April Zilg, leading the women's long distance. Moving back there.
Don't worry, April's there with Candace. If you toggle down there, you'll see April. They have been side by side, pulling each other. Oh no, April's in the back. So Candace has made a breakaway, and April has gone from second The 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tie for 6,
Yeah,
maybe
very
even
true.
8th. Maybe she's feeling some
Maybe
fatigue
she
from
is.
yesterday.
Yeah. There might even just be a glitch on the GPS too.
Okay.
That maybe she might just be catching up there, because we did see in that commercial break we were looking at Eri Tenorio drop back, but he's actually up at that top pack. And then
You see a number 16 there. Zoom in on 16. We got a separate screen here, and it's not showing names, numbers.
16 will be
Candace. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, the numbers on this side. Okay. Just a little housekeeping within the house right here as we're following multiple screens, and we're showing you some shots from the boats. Some are coming in sputtery. We apologize for that, but when we get them, we've got them. We'll give them to you, but the GPS gives us the whole picture.
That's right, it sure does. It tells us who's exactly leading the race.
Coming up on that 6-mile mark. 52 minutes into this race now, Bo.
Wow, so the competitors out there for almost an hour now. They have made it past that halfway point.
So you were saying earlier, I asked you about athletes hitting the wall, and you said around the 6-mile mark, some of these athletes, and maybe that happened to April.
Maybe it did. We see her drop back a little bit on the. Actually, no, with the GPS is just updated. We
Yeah,
actually
so you were right about that. So the update. So Candace and April are still battling themselves. There we go.
But if we even saw just on the GPS there in the men's race, Danny Ching was just back behind Mo Freitas. We can see there. Danny Ching, Mo Freitas, Eri Tenorio back there, Connor Baxter, Shrimpy, Arthur Arukin keeping in that front pack.
But who's back with Danny and Mo?
David Liao, the finals from yesterday, and Campbell Carter as well, the young gun. We saw him competing in the sprint racing yesterday.
And
Out in the quarterfinals.
And Tim Oliver's making a good showing in this group.
He is, definitely. He's taking that southern track as well, but we also have a couple of competitors above him on that map on your screen.
That's Dodie von Allerman. Bodie. That's Bodie
Yeah,
up there.
Bodie, yep.
Yeah.
Interesting race here. We'll hopefully get some more water shots of our athletes, be able to give you the full update.
Well, 53 minutes into this 10-miler. Malibu Pier to Santa Monica Pier. As we show you back out to the finish line area. They passed the halfway point. Look at that. From Malibu to Santa Monica. Dead halfway right there. The whole pack is halfway between that 4 and 6 mile mark. And some of our competitors are now approaching that 6 mile mark. And they pretty much kept a straight line. Some going a little bit more south. And some going a little bit more north.
I think those people on that south, on the bottom of that map there, probably get the onshore wind advantage coming into Santa Monica Pier. That wind probably starting to pick up out there at the moment. But we'll still see Michael Booth out in front for the men. Zooming in, we got a train of 4 that's following them. Connor Baxter. Then we also have Shuri Araki. And we've got
Arthur Arukin.
Arthur Arukin in that as well. And Eri Tenorio in that top pack.
Yeah, it was a good move that Eri made when he broke away from Mo Freitas earlier to get into that top pack.
Definitely was. Because we do see Danny Ching. Looks like his GPS has dropped back a little bit behind Candace and April now, so we'll hopefully be seeing that updated to give you the full picture of the placings in the long distance race.
Yeah, we see Danny Ching, Mo Freitas, and also Campbell Carter in that group. And number 8, just a little bit of ways from them, is Tim Oliver.
You can see on screen there those competitors a little bit more spaced out now, as Bo was saying, taking those different tracks. Bodie von Arman taking that middle track right on that line almost, as they're just reaching that 6 mile mark. Michael Booth just crossing 6 miles right now.
55 minutes, 38 seconds unofficially. So another 4 miles to go for our competitors to reach Santa Monica. Seven stops on the tour. That's a lot of stops this year for 2022.
It is, yeah. Fairly condensed year. Obviously starting in late June, rolling through to February next year. The final stop in Qatar, Doha. But London, next stop on tour, that'll be in August. These competitors looking to gain valuable points in the run to the world title.
Well, an exciting race yesterday, especially for the men's final.
Yes, it was a very exciting race. That finished with Arthur and Connor running up the beach there. That was a very impressive finish. We saw Arthur leading the race for most of the sprint final until Connor just caught that little wave behind and then managed to get over that double up.
He had the momentum. He jumped off his board. And Connor's known for his sprints on the beach, isn't he?
He is, exactly right. But he's also known for long distance, as he's really holding that position just behind the leader, Michael Booth. Yeah, Connor training really hard on Maui. Of course, with the other top competitors out there who will be competing on the tour, Zane Schweitzer in previous years doing really well racing and surfing. Kai Lenny, of course, legend of the sport.
Yeah, Kai was even training with Connor recently on the sprints. I was hoping to see maybe if he would make an appearance here.
That'd be very exciting to see Kai Lenny. But he's got his hands full at the moment with twins.
Oh my God, him and Molly. You just got one.
Just one. Yeah, that's right. That's enough for right now.
Imagine doubling everything. Diapers, formula, babysitting.
Wow. That's too much to think about.
As we zoom in on our pack, we're between mile 6 going towards mile 7.
So Michael Booth really making his track out towards sea at the moment.
Hey guys, so the boats are just going through a south dead zone. It's pretty gnarly. They're almost out, but we're starting to get speed back again. We're going to take like I think it's a total of a 5-minute break. We'll show 3 videos. We'll start in the day in the life of an athlete. We'll look at Jen, the lady who puts on the cement, her supplements, and then that's it. And then highlights. Okay, so just 5-minute break. We're waiting for boats to get through the dead zone.
All right, Bo, we're catching up on our leaders right now. Boothie in the lead for the men. We can see Candace Appleby, April Zug still battling it out for the women. And our boats are gaining in position. They're in a dead zone right now for the video for us to show you. So that's why we've been going to our GPS signal right now. So we're going to let our boats catch up now. We're going to take a short 5-minute break. We've got a day in the life of an athlete to show you, and some of the other fun things you can do on the SUP, and some highlights from yesterday. How's that sound?
Yeah, very exciting. So stick around. We'll be back after this short commercial break.
here in downtown Santa Monica. We're here for the first stop of the APP World Tour, which I'm really stoked about. Today was awesome. You know, they have some incredible sponsors coming behind this event. We're right here on the main strip, which is right by the pier. And yeah, just kind of kicking off the event on Thursday, but we're just going to be rolling through the whole weekend.
The history of Pro SUP Shop, it was started by the late Mike Vaughn. He started just a few boards and his truck, and he did it right here at Mother's Beach.
Pro SUP Shop has been one of the first companies in the business. There was a tent on the beach, and people were coming to find out what paddleboarding was all about. And I think it's been an institution ever since. It's all about actually teaching people how to be safe on the water, but also that they might grow into paddlers and become part of the community. And that was really what Pro SUP Shop has been about since the beginning. And I think that's why it's still going. And Mike was all about sharing the stoke and making sure people were trained properly before they hit the water.
The community actually almost started here at Mother's Beach. I was trying to find a place to paddle, to rent boards, because I had nowhere to carry it. And I found the Mikes, who started Pro SUP Shop, in a little stand on the beach, and they were renting boards. And right away we became friends, and then this amazing community started.
Like, we've had a Wednesday night paddle that's been going for about 12 years now. So we have a group of people that come out rain or shine, and we go paddling at around 7 o'clock, and then we go for dinner and drinks afterwards, and it's just a great way to break up the week and de-stress and detox.
Yeah, I'm friends with these people for 15 years, and they are my family, and the community is amazing.
You know, compete seriously. I just go out and have a great time, and you know, that to me is what the sport's about. It's about having a great time. It's about being in community. It's about enjoying the ocean.
I think it's the energy, you know, that we bring. You know, when we're here in the water, I feel like we're just all better people. You know, we're doing something that's good for our body and our soul, and so it just fosters good energy. Yeah, to have APP World Tour part of this event, it's incredible. It's the Pier's best event, and then to have it on this larger scale. The local community is really excited. There's been a lot of press, you know, in the Santa Monica and local community.
Santa Monica 360, you get up close and personal with the pros, with the leaders in the sport. They're accessible. You can talk to them, you know. You know, to me, that's what Santa Monica 360 is all about. It's a community of all generations, just people that love the water, they're engaged with the water and celebrating it.
It's a great event for everybody. You know, even kids. To watch it's fascinating.
Welcome back to the $25,000 APP U.S. Open of SUP at Santa Monica, event number 1 on the 2022 APP World Racing Tour. I'm Bo Hodge along with Bo Nixon. Welcome back to our humble abode. We're in like this little Winnebago, aren't we?
Yeah, it's called a Happier Camper. It's a pretty cool little setup in here. We've got be able to bring you guys the race.
Yeah, it's got a lot of lighting. It's got air conditioning up top. We were talking to one of the locals over here. They make them here in Los Angeles, and they can make them to your discretion, whether you want to put racks in here for multiple boards, whether you're into SUP, windsurfing, winging, surfing. I mean, you know, you can really design one of these to, and he said, don't put a bathroom in there. It's just too much stuff inside of it.
Definitely. They're pretty small, but yeah, it's got an awning up there. It's got a lot of power in here as well, sockets, big windows on all the sides. So yeah, pretty impressed with it.
Yeah. And there's our T-Mobile SUP pool. Getting some youngsters and some new SUP future contenders. What do you see on the GPS screen there, Bo?
So during the break, we've been trying to zoom in on the competitors here. We can actually see that, Bo, you stepped outside for a little bit and had a look at the fog, and it has really fogged over a little bit. So these competitors, we'll see down on the bottom there, Michael Booth, Shrimpy, they're actually heading out towards sea at the moment.
That is odd. And wasn't Michael Booth on the shoreland side of the purple line earlier today?
Yes, and you can see that the whole field is starting to follow those athletes down the beach out toward as they get toward that 7 mile mark. But on the south track, Bodie von Allman is heading straight toward Santa Monica Pier, where we have our other athletes kind of heading down the coast.
Yeah.
Which is odd. Hopefully we can bring you some...
Now just look underneath these tents. There's a layer of fog on the ocean.
They won't be able to see Santa Monica Pier from where they are, so
no.
They won't know exactly which direction they're heading. And I guess the people taking that inside track could be able to see the beach to their left. But we'll have to get some shots from the boat out in the water, which we hope can bring you soon once they get through that dead spot.
Because we're in between mile 7 and mile 8 for our top leaders right now. And there's a pack behind Boothie.
There is a pack behind Boothie. We also see... That's a huge pack we have behind Boothie.
Well, right now, it seems like Arthur Arukin has just passed him, and then we've got a group of 2 over here. Oh, no, Boothie is caught up, so our GPS is caught up. So
but remember,
Boothie,
they're actually heading down.
out to sea.
Yeah, out to sea. So I'm guessing they can't actually see where they're going. So that is Connor Baxter, Danny Ching. We have Arthur Arukin, Eri Tenorio, Shrimpy in that top pack.
And they're going the wrong way.
They are going the wrong way.
Oh my God. So zoom back out. So let's go by mile marker number 7. And who's in that pack?
So we have Bodie von Allman up the top there. We also have our competitor in number 41. That is Franco Facine, and also competitor number 30. That is Tiago Bove. So these competitors taking the inside track, maybe being able to see the beach on their left-hand shoulder, to be able to follow it around into Santa Monica Pier. But these competitors, Michael Booth has gone from well out in front to now he's right down on the bottom of the screen there. And the women are also following.
That's what I was going to bring up next. Not only is he leading the trail of men out to sea, but the girls are following too.
Exactly, and then we see Gianissa Vecco above them, just keeping that line along that purple line you can see on screen there. So all these competitors getting caught up in following the leader.
Oh, this is so bizarre. This is just not right. You would think the boats would know they're going out to sea.
You would think so, but I guess the boats can't see it. I guess they must have GPS on the boat. They should be able to track where they're going. But is that something that the boats can direct the competitors?
I don't think so, because that would be coaching, right?
That's exactly right. So it would seem that the competitors have to figure it out themselves where they're going. But it is foggy out there. Michael Booth heading out toward where Chris Burditch is right now.
Well, Chris is in the doldrums
He's way
right
out
now.
there. Yeah, that's very true.
Oh my God, unbelievable.
So our all top athletes heading south, where they should be heading fairly
northeast
to be able to get toward Santa Monica Pier.
Because right now, if Boothie takes a hard left-hand turn, he can hit the pier.
Straight in. But we do have a bit of a northerly wind out there today, so the wind has been out their back the whole time. We'll have to see if these competitors, when they do turn back in, they'll have a bit of a side wind to contend with. So very interesting to see what's happening out there. We hope we can bring you these pictures soon.
Yeah, the GPS still pointing due south for Boothie and Arthur and Danny Ching and Shrimpy and Ari Tonino.
And then above that purple line on screen, we do have Itzel Delgado in that pack as well. He's spent a lot of time in California, obviously riding for Infinity, Dave Banney. So he probably knows this area quite well, maybe sticking to that local knowledge for him, but it's interesting to see that Danny Ching has fallen victim out in the fog there to follow these guys.
I mean, Boothie's almost making an inverted C.
He has, yeah. If we do zoom back out and we can see the whole field for the competitors, we'll see where they started at Malibu Pier and then where they actually are in relation to Santa Monica Pier. They are quite a way off the coastline.
Now we are seeing Ari Tonino kind of making a left to right path here as Boothie is going north and south. And Arthur Arukin's just following Boothie.
Yeah, they looks, and the women are as well. But behind them, David Liao, we see Jake Graham as well. Mo Freitas in that pack. April Zilg for the women, following their fellow male competitors.
Okay, we're an hour and 13 minutes in. We're at mile marker. We're still at mile marker, what, 7, 8?
Still at number
between 7 and 8.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think they put in an extra mile going due south.
Yeah, and here we go on screen here. We've got some pictures from the boat coming through. That's a lone competitor there out in front.
This could be the part of the Bodie's crew. Or are these guys part of that big train way south?
Yeah, that's right. So the boat must be leading them out. You see that boat is in front. Michael Booth looks like he might be out in front here.
But just look around. Yeah, I know that picture was a little spotty there, but you really couldn't see the coast.
No, you
can't. I mean, you
just
couldn't even see, out to sea. It was just straight dead fog.
That's right. So everywhere you look, 360 degrees is all fog. That's quite a scary position to be in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we do have water safety out there today. They will be keeping an eye on all of our competitors. Obviously, we have our other surf crafts out there too.
I mean, look how dead south Michael Booth is still paddling.
Even from when he was on the other side of that purple line on screen.
And that was, what, 20, 30 minutes ago?
That's right. So we actually see the field starting to move back across, just refresh there on screen. Gina Saveco up the top there near mile marker number 7, starting to make her way across. And the pack, you can see, they're all starting to be told that they are heading out to sea, starting to make their way back in. Looks like Danny Ching is leading the pack as they come in towards Santa Monica Pier, but maybe that was a tactic, Bo. Maybe they actually paddled out to get a little bit of this sea breeze coming in.
And going straight on shore. So we see Connor Baxter in that group. We see Shrimpy in that group. We also see number 13, Ari Tina Rio. And just looking at your curve on your GPS, you can see a right-hand turn from Michael Booth.
Yeah, if you click on these competitors' numbers, you can work out the settings and you can get their track. So where they have paddled from in the last few minutes, you got to get a line, see their curve. Maybe this was all part of there to get in line with the Santa Monica Pier to be able to come straight back in. But we're looking at the competitors. If we can zoom out above this, above that line, the purple line, we do see our competitors heading straight in toward the Santa Monica Pier. So that is Bodie von Arman, Itzel Delgado, Franco Facine, Thiago Beauvais. So it's a race for the finish at the 8 mile mark.
Well, we talked about it at breakfast. I wanted to know the strategy, and really when we talked to the athletes here on the pier, they were just like, let's paddle to the pier. But we've seen a little chaos. Look at the fog. Look at the haziness surrounding these athletes. And I think it played a major factor in setting off this course. I hope you're right that they intended to go here and then go straight into the pier. But to me, that would be extra mileage and extra minutes.
Exactly right. And it looks like the conditions are quite calm out there. Obviously, the camera on the boat, there is a bit of a bump out there, but there's not too much wind, as you can see. It's quite glassy out there for the competitors. This fog just keeping that wind at bay. making it tough for our competitors. They must be starting to hit a wall at the moment. 8 miles, and especially knowing that you've taken the wrong course.
1 hour, 16 minutes into this race. It's playing a major factor.
So we can actually see on the GPS, Michael Booth is now behind a lot of these competitors. Danny Ching,
Connor Baxter
leading that train there.
Shrimpy in that group. Ari also in that group from Brazil. Arthur Arukin, you know, he's to the left or behind Michael Booth.
So what do you think goes through your mind when you're paddling that course and all of a sudden you're turned around and you think you're in first, but now you're in 5th or 6th?
Well, I think these guys need to find a 5th gear.
That's very true.
And if they have it in them, they'll use it.
That's
if
right.
they're spent, they're spent.
As we see, it looks like this is some of the women racing competitors just coming through the fog.
I mean, you got a gray ocean, you got a gray sky. I mean, it's easily understandable that you can get confused.
That's very true, it really is. There's not too much swell out there today either, so competitors not being able to use those bumps, those downwind conditions for a bit of wind. So just relying on their own compass.
Okay, we are hitting the 8 mile mark, especially with Bodhi and Itzel.
Yeah.
Watching that. So they've passed 8 miles and we're past an hour 18 in that straight line for those 4 men. You see Franco behind them and David also.
With these foggy conditions, it'd be interesting to know if the competitors can see each other from this far away, knowing where they are.
I don't think so.
You don't think they can see each other? No.
No. I just ran out to the end of the pier. Not to the end of the very end of the pier, just on the other side, because we're on the south side, just went to the north side. And it's still fuzzy and hazy and foggy as you look up north.
Yeah, really playing into play with the athletes here.
Well, you know, with Candace and April heading down south too, you know, that brings in, you know, Stephanie and everybody else in the women's race.
Exactly.
So the women's race is a little, you know, upside down too.
Exactly right. And if you can look on screen, Gina Saveco, she's got that straight line back into Santa Monica Pier where the other girls need to kind of curve around.
Yeah, we see Candace and April. Candace is on top of April's heading there, and we see Stephanie Scheidler. And then out behind them, there's a pack of 3 or 4.
That's right, yeah. Juliana Gonzalez there, Juliette Deheim. Who else do we have in that pack? Abby Baker.
Yep.
So a number of women there, and Alina Adesaka as well, just in that inside line. Just keeping up with the top women there. A very interesting race. We do see the men starting to bunch together again as they move in toward Santa Monica Pier.
If Bodie von Ullman wins this race, he's going to have a legend to tell everybody, his kids, his grandkids, and everybody else.
Exactly. What a finish that would be. Remember, they do have Itzel there as well. Franco Facine, who did quite well in the sprints yesterday. He had that really smooth surfing style we see, getting really low. And then Tiago Bovo as well in that pack, following that purple line into Santa Monica Pier.
Now, here's another question for you, Bo. Maybe it wasn't visual. Maybe there was a current running out into the open ocean.
That's very true.
Is that possible?
It is possible. However, we do see those other athletes on the other side of that purple line. They've kind of been keeping that position there. I do feel like Michael Booth wanted to try and break away at some point and maybe just got a bit lost in the fog. I don't know. I don't think there'd be too much current happening for the competitors, just because we do see that split between above the line and below the line.
Well, you see Arthur and Boothie are working together down on the far south side. But
They've almost gone past the pier.
I know. Well, yeah. Amazing.
So in that pack of top men, there we have Danny Ching, Connor Baxter,
And Shrimpy.
and Shrimpy. What's up?
Is that number 14? That's
Yeah,
Campbell
number
Carter. Campbell's in that grouping too.
You're right.
Also number 13, that's Ari Tino Rio. Bodie and Itzel they're about the 8.5 mile mark. And the ones out at sea, they're also 8.5 miles mark, but they're further south of the pier.
That's right. Probably another extra half a mile, maybe even a mile.
So there's always a race within the race, and we've had many races within this race.
We certainly have. We've seen Michael Booth take different tracks. We've seen that train jump around a few times. It's going to be an interesting finish as we get some live feed from the water. We see I think that is Danny Ching there in that yellow. Well, we do know that Connor is wearing a yellow jersey as well, but he's obviously riding a starboard.
Or could this be the girls?
This could be the women, you're right, Bo.
Yeah,
this is the women.
I think that's April in yellow,
right.
and that's Candace Appleby in the front because I can see her bun on her ponytail.
Yeah, that's right. My apologies. We do have Candace and April there. They've been the two competitors holding that women's field for the top two positions.
But they've been following that Boothie train out to sea.
They have, indeed. But it still looks like they will have the top position in that women's field. Obviously, Gina Saveco paddling in toward the pier. And all our competitors start to make their way in. But Michael Booth and Arthur Arukin still really far away from that top train.
They were very relaxed on the pier this morning during the athletes briefing. Very casual, very calm, very cool, not uptight. I mean, I thought they were really focused when they jumped on the bus to head down.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're all quite focused in the zone, getting ready for the race. But anything can happen.
Well, you're watching day 2 action. This is our distance race for the 2022 APP World Tour stop number 1, the U.S. Open of SUP here at Santa Monica, California. Thanks to our sponsors, T-Mobile, more 5G bars in more places, Volkswagen, Santa Monica, June Shine, and GoPro. And there's some of our board representatives on the beach as we swing over to the T-Mobile APP wave pool, teaching some of our younger competitors how SUP is done.
Great to see the youths in the pool learning how to SUP.
Trying to get his blade turned around.
Yeah, good paddle skills there.
There's our GoPro finish line.
We'll see the competitors run through that. And I think with these trains we might see quite an exciting finish.
What if all these trains merge together at once?
That is going to be super exciting. I
Oh
hope
my
for
God.
that.
I mean, anything is possible.
It is. Anything is possible, especially with those top athletes there. They're going to make their way straight in toward the pier. They could meet up with Itzel, Bodie, Franco, and Thiago.
I'm just thinking Bodie and Itzel are 1 and 2 right now.
They are 1 and 2. As we do see that GPS just refresh there, and Michael Booth, Arthur Rukin trying to catch that train. Those women there, that's a big pack of women we can see that are just behind the men. Candace, April.
Yeah, all of the ladies are right
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you count Adisaka just a little bit south of them, north of them, that's 8 ladies right in that top group.
Yeah, so that's going to be another exciting finish if they can all hold on together.
1 hour, 25 minutes, 25 seconds. We were estimating anything between an hour and a half and 2 hours. An hour and a half at top best, at perfect conditions, to 2 hours. And it looks like we're getting there. So our top guys closer to shore, Bodie and Itzel, approaching the 9-mile marker.
That's right, yeah.
Is there somebody else in that group besides those two?
Just see those, those two there.
Okay.
And then obviously Franco just behind them.
Okay.
But we have Danny trying to make a beeline back in toward the pier. We can see they are getting closer, but we do see that Itzel and Bodie they are closer to the pier.
Yeah.
And maybe they can start to see each other now. They probably can all see the pier as they're rounding in just a mile away from the pier now.
Well, to me, I think that 5th gear that they've been saving, and if they've got it, they're using it.
They need to use it right now. This is where things get interesting because you need to put in the sprinting to be able to get out in front of the competitors to be able to finish this race.
Because I think Bodie and Itzel, they didn't know what was going on with the rest of the pack. They took, the more northerly route closer to shore, and they kept the straight line A to B. I'm paddling from A to B, and everybody else was maybe running with bumps, running with strategy, running with trains, and it didn't look like it paid off.
No, it didn't. And Michael Booth had that line on
Early.
on that northern track just to try and get right in close to the beach, get into the pier, but he took a swing out to the southern track, and we can see that now he's fallen back.
Yeah, we can see Shrimpy and we see Danny Ching underneath him. Connor Baxter also in that group. They'll be powering through. Ari Torino also in that group. Tim Oliver in that group too.
So a lot of competitors there joining that train.
And these two paths may merge together, like you said.
Merge together, yeah. It's really hard to give you the situation update now with the competitors, but looking likely that Itzel and Bodie out in the front at the moment.
Will the winner be determined by a sprint?
That'd be exciting finish too.
Oh my
I'd
God,
look
10
forward to
miles, almost 2 hours of paddling, and it comes down to a sprint. And your legs are like jello, let me tell you. When you're on a stand-up board, not only your upper body's getting a workout, your core's getting a workout. Your thighs and calves can cramp up on a paddle like this. You think, well, you're not running or anything. You're squeezing every muscle in your body on every stroke. And when you hit the sand, sometimes your top half of your body's moving and the lower half is not.
Yeah, you've been standing on a board for what, almost an hour and a half now. Those legs are going to be hurting. You use such a core body strength that it uses your whole body, so everything's going to be hurting. When these competitors hit the sand, they probably would not like to be finishing with a sprint, but it may end up looking like these competitors will have to run up the beach.
Case intact, Bodie and Itzel. I mean, you can tell they're in a two-man train.
They are, exactly. As you see Michael Booth down the bottom of the screen there, trying to get away from Arthur. He's probably putting in his fifth gear at the moment, trying to make sure he gets there, but...
Danny, Shrimpy, and Ari in that lead group on the blue, further south. Tim Oliver behind him.
See Connor in that pack as well.
Okay. Something tells me it's going to be Bodie and Itzel.
I do think so, as they're crossing the 9 mile mark. So just under a mile left for these competitors. And without any wind out there today, it's just really hard going. 10 miles of just paddling as hard as they can, as fast as they can.
Okay, we're approaching 1:29:35, so we're an hour and a half into this race. And there's the Santa Monica Pier.
So we'll see as we start to pan out towards sea. Maybe we can see our competitors, or maybe they might be just in that fog.
They're in that fog. I tell you, they are in that fog.
See a boat out there. That might be a good landmark for some of them, but obviously not knowing that the pier is close. Some spectators down on the beach waiting for our athletes to finish. We do have a little bit of wind out there. Maybe those competitors taking that outside route, getting that advantage with the wind at their back coming in.
And they're going to want every ounce of that if they can milk it. Back to the GPS screen. Let's zoom in on Ari Torino and Shrimpy and Danny Ching and Connor Baxter. They're in a train. You see Tim Oliver behind him. So yeah, this train right here with Danny, Connor, Shrimpy, Ari, they're powering.
They are powering. They know that the finish line is in sight. They know that they need to get ahead of Itzel and Bodie, who have taken that inside track.
Well, they probably don't know there's a group taking an inside track,
Maybe they think everyone's behind them.
Yeah. Because we did see a sharp turn to the left when that group was heading straight south. So
That's right.
Communication must have been known that either we're in front of the pier and we now have to make a turn, or we got off course. And we'll find that out at the end of the race.
We'll find that out as we see just past that 9 mile mark. Itzel Delgado, Bodie Van Orman, Franco Facine just behind that 9 mile, and Thiago Bove. So these 4 athletes, they were in the pack at the very start of this race. Then they broke away and decided to go on that northern track to try and get closer to shore.
Well, it was Boothie and Franco first.
It was, that's very true.
And Itzel was, in that part of that top 10 group, and then he broke away and went more north.
as we keep an eye on the pier to see if our athlete's going to be rounding that shortly. Obviously just under a mile to go.
Okay, there's the ones closer to shore. We'll show you the other guys in a second here as we go further south. And you know, everyone thinks someone else is ahead.
They do. That's exactly right. Itzel and Bodie probably thinking that there's probably people already finished by now.
Yeah.
But in fact that they are in front leading this race.
We can still see Candace and April neck and neck. And who's behind them?
Stephanie Scheidler behind them with Lena Ribeiro as well, who's caught up.
Yeah.
So Lena dropping back there early on in the race, but putting in those hard yards to be able to catch up to those front pack of women. So that GPS just refreshing their competitors. We do see a boat out there. Don't think that's our one.
That's a sailboat coming by. Moving slowly. You can see a little bit of choppiness on the face of the waves now. It was smoother, cleaner earlier this morning. But the wind is coming from that Malibu side.
Yeah, so the wind would have been at their back at the start of the race. Just a light breeze as that wind strengthens toward the afternoon.
.1:33, 1 hour 33 minutes into this race. And we're coming to a final. We're gonna see if Bodie or Itzel can beat the world's best.
I have a feeling they will on this occasion, Bo. Seeing them as that GPS does refresh, getting closer and closer to the Santa Monica Pier. With Danny Ching, Shrimpy, Connor Baxter just behind them.
And on the beach PA is Itzel's boss, Dave Bainey. He's subbing in for Drew. Drew had to go to Florida for some other functions. And I wonder if Bainey knows that maybe Itzel's in the top two,
Yeah.
possibly.
Possibly. He's probably following the tracking on his phone.
Yeah.
Probably knowing that there's something happening there as we see a few people making their way down to that finish line.
Also with Candace,
That's right, Candace.
team
Ackley
rider
riding
for Team Infinity.
Yeah, Mo Freitas is riding Infinity as well.
So that's where they're going to finish, through the white GoPro finish line on the other sides of these black tents. You see the SIC tent. All the manufacturers being represented down here at Santa Monica.
And looking back at the GPS, we do see them
yes.
approaching the 10-mile mark.
They are doing it, Bo.
Itzel and Bodie. This is exciting, Bo.
It is.
It took a turn.
You know,
And
in sports in America, Americans love the underdog. And it happened when, you know, Mike Tyson got punched out and knocked out by Buster Douglas. I mean, he was like a 2,000 to 1, you know, long shot. And it happens. Life happens.
life does happen.
You know, and it's exciting. You grab it, you run with it. You know, this may be Bodie's, you know, claim to fame. It may be Itzel's claim to fame, you know, but it'll be an exciting finish, whoever wins.
That's very true. As we're looking at competitors here,
We were following Candace and April. That could have been them.
it looked like it might have been them. Looked like April there taking the lead in that train, trying to get ahead.
Yeah, Candace has been leading that train the whole race for the women. And there goes Bodie. It's going to be Bodie Itzel, 1-2.
It is. So those two competitors right next to each other now. It's a race for the lead for these two competitors, as we will see them, one of them, cross the line in first position.
Can Franco pass Danny Ching, Connor Baxter, Shrimpy, and Airy?
It looks like they're in a pretty similar position at the moment, so we'll have to see as they get closer to the pier, but it does look like maybe Franco and Tiago have a little bit of that inside run straight toward the pier, because Michael Booth and Danny Ching did lead that pack well off out into the ocean there.
We are getting ready for a finish. 1 hour, 36 minutes, 36 seconds into this race, and we are coming down to the final quarter mile of this race. try to bring you some video shots when we have them. There was a dead zone right after the start of the race with our cameras. We had 3 boats out in the water, some drones. We were able to give you some of those shots. And it's good to see, you know, how that early lead in the train, but I think the fog played a major issue in our top leaders.
It really did play a part. They probably couldn't see the pier out there at all. They couldn't see land. Itzel and Bodie taking that inside route maybe can see the beach for a little bit, because remember when we were looking at that water, we could see the land in the background, so maybe they could just have a little bit of their eye as they just hit that 10-mile mark. So we should see them rounding the pier in the next few minutes.
Yeah, so they're going to be coming right to left on our screen. I don't think there's a buoy they have to go around. I think that white buoy is a standard buoy, Santa Monica buoy. We're looking out in front, scanning. No, I don't see a buoy. There's our race directors. There's an orange buoy that was out there yesterday. Don't know if they have to go around that, but we'll wait and see. Because we had 2 green turn buoys, and that orange buoy was just set out there in the middle. They were using that for the surf life-saving events.
I think the competitors just going to make their way into the beach and cross that APP chicane.
I think it's just a race from point A to point B.
That's it,
you start in
exactly.
Malibu and you finish in the finish line.
That's right, and our GPS now, we can see Itzel and Bodie almost getting to Santa Monica Pier.
Yeah.
First and second position.
And I think Franco and Tiago could have a shot over Connor, Danny, Shrimpy, and Ari.
Exactly. It's looking very likely. However, I know that they're putting in 5th gear. They wanted to be finishing in those top positions to be able to gain those points toward the world title, the APP World Tour.
1 hour, 38 minutes, 50 seconds into this race. This is unofficial time. As you can hear Dave Beatty on the beach, he's starting to rile up the crowd because I think they can see our top contenders.
They can definitely see our top contenders. Just on the other side of Santa Monica Pier, we see the camera panning across. Maybe we'll be able to see them through the pylons.
Yeah, I'm
Can we see them? We're looking.
No. Yeah, just keep it on the front of the pier.
That's all right. They'll be able to run that in it'll be almost a minute now. They'll be coming around that pier as we do see them.
You know what this reminds me, Bo, and I think you were there, Miraflores, the ISA World Championships. Here we go.
Here we go. Our top first competitor coming around the pier there.
Is that Itzel Delgado?
Like Itzel on an Infinity. Oh, he's just...
You see,
he's waving.
He's spent. Where's Bodie? There's Bodie.
Bodie's right behind him. It looks like they might have to paddle over to that buoy.
Okay, so the orange buoy is in play. And Itzel, oh my God. The smartest man of the day.
Infinity team rider. Like we said, spending a lot of time in this area, maybe knows a little bit of local knowledge. They are paddling toward that orange buoy. As we can't see the other competitors out in the open ocean there. Danny Ching, Connor Baxter, Shrimpy.
Yeah.
We can't see them yet.
Franco and Tiago have a shot at coming 3rd, 4th. Don't count them out. So the orange buoy must be turned on the left-hand turn. And what Bo and I were talking about down in Miraflores at the ISA World Championships 2015, 2016, we had fog conditions. And we had to stop the SUP surfing because the judges could not see the surfers surf. And we had a long distance race in the fog. And we had no idea who was in the lead, who was out in front. We didn't have GPS. And puffing out of a cloud was Jamie Mitchell and Casper Steinfath as his coming out party.
Yes, exactly. Casper Steinfath obviously taking the win there, but we saw Itzel Delgado just taking off his leash as he rounded that buoy, coming in first position here. This is a big win for the Peruvian.
Well, he's the Peruvian national champion. He has qualified through the Pan American Games, won the events down in South America, but none bigger than this.
It was the Itzel riding in on the wave. Bodie just behind him. Itzel Delgado.
There's Anthony Villa, our contest director in the red jersey, down on the beach. And here we go. Itzel Delgado will be your 2022 U.S. SUP Open champion. Look how excited he is. Unofficial time, 1:41:49.
Itzel putting the paddle up in the air. He is stoked to win this long distance race.
A lot of prize money.
A lot of prize money out
A
there.
lot of valuable points for a world title.
Bodie
And how
von
about,
Arman
how about Bodie?
crossing the line in second position.
I'll say 1:42.05 unofficial. Well, our estimate between 1:30 and 2 hours, it happened. Right in the middle. All right. Can Tiago come third, fourth?
Looks like we have there's Itzel there and Bodie.
They
Young
can't believe
Bodie,
it.
SIC rider.
How old is Bodie?
I'm not sure, Bo, but he looks young.
Yeah.
Great to see these young competitors. They'll be standing on the podium this afternoon.
This is the future of our sport.
It certainly is. Long distance champions. As we switch our attention back to the water, seeing which competitors are coming in, we do see that train consisting of Connor Baxter, Shuri Araki,
Okay, now remember
Danny
this.
Ching.
Itzel Delgado yesterday, 8th place in the consolation final. First place in the distance. So we're going to have to see the points.
That's a lot of valuable
So
points.
if Connor Baxter finishes 9th or lower, Itzel could be the overall champion.
be.
So the overall champion is still in the mix here. And we know Danny Ching didn't compete in the sprints. We got to look how Shrimpy did. Shrimpy did very well in that consolation final. He was in 7th place, so he's got a 7th, and here we go.
So yeah, looking out into the fog, we see
This is
our
Danny
competitors.
Ching.
Danny Ching, or is it Shrimpy?
It could be Shrimpy. I think it is
I think
Shrimpy.
it's Shrimpy, yeah, on the
Is he on that green board?
on the green board, the green nose. He's paddling hard. He's got that really. You see that bottom hand is so far down the paddle.
There's
putting
Franco.
in strong strokes. He
And
knows.
Tiago on the right underneath the pier.
We
So
can
the
see.
two groups are now merging together from
Yes.
left and right. And look, you can't see any other athletes
you-
between these 5.
They're sitting there less than a mile offshore.
So they were paddling blind
Yes,
in
they
this
were.
race. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately for a lot of our competitors, they're taking the wrong track as we see all of the competitors at the bottom of the screen there.
And we just saw April break away from Candace Appleby on that last screen. All right. 1 hour, 44 minutes and counting. Can Shrimpy catch Franco and Tiago? So he's broken away from Danny Ching and Connor Baxter.
That's right.
So I believe that's Danny in front of Connor. And we're still looking for our competitors coming by towards the orange buoy.
They're probably going to meet as they come in line with the pier here. I think Shrimpy has the advantage coming into that buoy turn.
Can't quite see the buoy as of yet here.
Here we go, camera's panning around. We should be able to see it.
There, no, that's the boat. Where's that orange buoy?
It's way over there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, so there is some distance that they do have to do here. It's not done yet. So don't count out Franco and Tiago.
No, but of course, if we do look at the
Yeah.
on
So
our screen, we have the GPS up. We do see that those competitors that were paddling from out in the ocean there, they do have that quicker route to the buoy turn. So that is Connor Baxter and Danny Ching on screen. Connor in the yellow. And Shuri Araki really pulled away from
Yeah.
these competitors.
well, if this holds right, 3rd, 4th, 5th, Connor would be ahead of Itzel.
That's true.
For the overall. Because Itzel had an 8th place in the sprints. Connor with a 1st. And if Connor can get a 4th or a 5th here.
But Shrimpy also in the consolation final.
Yeah, he was
He's
7th.
7th,
So
okay.
a 3rd and a 7th.
Yeah.
That you know, don't know the numbers of the rankings. We'll have to go to Tristan and we'll just wait to the award ceremony to find all that out. I don't want to go off 2019 point listing because points could have changed since then. A lot of new rules have been implemented with priority in the sprint races. And here we go, Shrimpy. And look, he's paddling as hard as he was at the start of this race.
You need to put in the hard yards right at the end here to solidify that top position. See, Shrimpy knows he's out in front, but he still has to keep pace. He does not want the other competitors to catch him. And obviously time as well, trying to beat personal bests over a 10-mile distance.
Yeah, we're at 1 hour 46 minutes And 5 minutes ago, Itzel Delgado won this race.
He did. Itzel Delgado taking the title here with Bodie von Arman in second, as we see Danny Ching, Connor Baxter, and Shrimpy riding a little wave in.
This is probably the longest rest he's had all race. Look at him, still hydrating. Taking that leash off on his thigh, upper knee. He's happy with third. 147 and counting. Good strong legs at the finish. Love the tiger stripes there. The black and white. So Danny Ching in position, or will Connor Baxter outsprint him up on the race?
We'll have to see here. This finish looks like Danny Ching is out in front of Connor, and then behind them looks like we have Franco Facine, who has caught those competitors. Danny Ching here coming in.
We're at 1 hour 48 minutes. And Danny, at his age, still in the top 5.
Yeah, big
A
finish
legend.
for these competitors. Danny running up the beach.
Running across
see
the
him
GoPro
cross the
finish line. 148.22 unofficial.
It's 4th position there for the men.
Now we're going to see Connor Baxter, winner of the sprints. Possibly the overall winner. We do not know. He's wearing the yellow jersey right now. 148.35 unofficial.
As we have some more water shots coming through.
So this must be Franco and Tiago.
I think this is Mo in the Infinity.
Here's Franco.
This is Franco here. Happy with his performance. Hands up in the air.
.149, we'll call it 06, across the GoPro finish line.
So those competitors we do see there, that is Eric Tenorio, and behind him, maybe Tiago.
I think Tiago's in that group, because Tiago is behind Franco. So you think Ari passed him?
Ari's pass. Yeah, looks like Ari Tenorio coming in here. Just ahead of Tiago.
Or could it be a sprint? We're 1 hour 50 minutes into this race.
See these athletes here, they are hurting at this point. You can see Tiago take a little wave there, and he has got a little double up wave. He might even catch Ari on this little wave. This is very similar to how the sprint racing finished yesterday in the men's final.
And they know it.
Taking their leash off. They're running up the beach, sprinting.
Ari's going to get it.
This position is for
7th place.
7th and 8th. And there we go. You see Dave Bainey there calling the beach announcing. Just walk past screen.
So who do you see coming up next?
We have next competitors. We have Michael Booth coming in.
43, number 30.
As we see Danny Ching there talking about the track he took with Itzel, the winner. But this is, looks like Michael Booth coming in.
9th place.
It's the Australian surfing his way in. Michael led this race from a large portion of it before they started to head out to sea in that fog.
I want to hear his story. He took many different routes in this race.
Yeah.
And you can tell he is not happy with his performance.
No.
He is one of the best in the world. 2018, 2019 distance champion, 9th place here at Santa Monica. And knowing Mike, London is revenge.
Yeah, Boothie crossing the line there. Keeping hydrated with that water. talking to his fellow competitors here.
There's Danny with this still, congratulating Mike and the rest of the crowd. Bodie, number 2. He's looking, and here's our first OC1 man. He was in that group too. Is this Campbell Carter?
This is. Let's get back to who this one is.
That's our OC1 man.
OC crossing the line.
He was in that lead pack too.
Yeah, he was. Crossed it. Well done.
And the GoPro finish line, hold it there. See the number? Can't make the number out on the jerseys.
It might be Tim Oliver.
Okay, Tim Oliver.
He was in that front pack there, just behind them. He's at number 8. As we see, that is Tim Oliver. He crossed the line. Good showing from Tim.
All right, there's your top 10. Tim Oliver, number 10.
So, yeah, 2018 champion.
Arthur Arukin, 2018 world champion. Also professional windsurfer, wing foiler. He does it all.
He does it all.
He travels the world.
So, women's race looks like April Zilg.
She's broken away from Candace.
Broken away from Candace on the GPS that we're looking at on our screen. But what you're watching now is Arthur Arukin. That might be Campbell Carter behind him.
Yeah, I knew Campbell was in that mix.
Arthur just loves riding these waves. Super stylish.
That's Campbell. That's Arthur.
Yeah, Arthur coming in. His legs are spent.
Yeah. No more sprinting now.
No, that's right. You can see Arthur opting for that waist belt for hydration.
Arthur, 13 minutes behind Itzel Delgado.
Well, that's what happens when you have to paddle an extra mile or two.
Look at him hydrating, even running up on the beach.
Arthur was, of course, in that front pack, in that middle of the race. Just couldn't keep up with him at the end there.
And
As you see Mo Freitas just rounding that boy.
Yeah,
Here we
Mo
go.
on the
Here's
outside.
Campbell Carter crossing the line.
I think he's got a great future in SUP.
Really does. Young kid, SRC team rider. We'll see a lot more from him.
Campbell Carter coming in 12th place. Great showing for the young kid from North Carolina. And Mo Freitas, lifeguard from the North Shore. Mo was in contention early, but got caught in that train heading due south. Look at him. Big exhale. Inhale, exhale.
As we actually see Candace and April now on our GPS screen.
Well, Stephanie's in that group too.
Stephanie is in that group.
Candace is 16, April's 1, and Stephanie's also there. Where's
She's number 19.
She's 19. Okay, so Candace has just a slight lead. April there. It's too close to call for the women. 71.
I'm afraid he's giving the signal that he's done.
Yeah. I'm pal. That's what we say in Hawaii. I'm pal.
I'm pal.
Pal. Pal means done, over, full, no more.
Okay.
Pal. I'm pal. And then when 5 o'clock rolls around and it's time for happy hours, Pauhana.
Pauhana.
Pauhana. Mo's ready for a Pauhana.
I think they're all ready for a Pauhana.
Maybe a big wave Kona Brewery, boy.
That's it, but we've got the drone footage here. It looks like
Yeah,
April
this is the
Zilg.
women.
April Zilg in the yellow is out in front of Candace Appleby.
Wow,
This is a repeat of the sprints from yesterday. April.
I would say
leading
about
that.
8 board lengths.
But still, anything can happen with these little waves coming through.
Yes.
This is not a done race just yet.
And remember, the women also, these two women also went way south.
They did, that's right. And Gina Saveco had that inside line. We haven't seen her on that GPS screen there yet, but April just paddling in to turn that buoy, and we'll see her coming in toward the finish line. It's another one of our male competitors heading in there. That is Tiago Bobo. He took that inside track. probably just hitting a wall at that 9-mile mark.
And look at Candace, still trying to keep herself in contention here.
Candace looking over her shoulder, see if there is a little wave coming. She always performs well on the waves.
This bump could happen.
Again, looking over her shoulder. April just has that, like you said, Bo, about 8 board lengths. And Candace putting in those strong paddles to get a little bump, and she could have herself on here.
Well, these ladies are going to break 2 hours. We're at 1:57 unofficially, and a wave on the inside is going to seal it for April.
So a repeat of the results from yesterday in the sprints. The same for the distance racing.
And ladies and gentlemen, here's your 2022 U.S. Open SUP champion. April Zig won the sprints yesterday, and the winner of the distance, a clean sweep in Santa Monica at the GoPro finish line.
Definitely one of our top picks this morning, Bo, when we were talking about it. April looking really, really strong. There's Itzel there, congratulating April on her performance.
And how about Candace Appleby, a legend in SUP racing, SUP surfing, a former gold medalist, a world champion, coming in 158, we'll call it 13. So she was just 20 seconds behind April.
Yeah, very close race for the women. As we do see Stephanie Schindler on our GPS just there coming in 3rd place at the moment. But a few ladies right behind her, which is going to make this finish very exciting for those top places. As we see on screen there, Lena Ribeiro, Gina Saveco.
Yeah, they're neck and neck.
Stephanie looked like she might just hold on to 3rd position here.
What happened to you? What happened to you? What happened to you? No, I was following you. No.
I finished half an hour ago.
Oh, the stories we're going to hear after this.
Stories,
oh
yes.
My God. And we talked about that at the beginning of the race. This is, a point A to point B race, but there's going to be races within the races. And we saw multiple races within the races, whether it was the train, whether it was going north, going south, getting lost. The fog did play a hazard in this race.
It certainly did.
There's the 2 winners on the right. It's El Delgado and April. They are so happy. Candace, a second and a second.
Looking at the screen there. No, they're taking their picture, but congratulations to those athletes. We do have the next athletes coming in the women. Stephanie, she's just rounding that buoy at the moment. Here we go, she's coming in now. Another great performance from Stephanie.
Yeah. She'll be contending for a world title.
I think in yesterday's races she didn't do as well as she'd like to in the sprints. It's definitely a name to look out for on the tour this year. She's happy in her 3rd position, running up the beach.
Well, she'll come in at 2 hours and 33 seconds. So 15 athletes broke 2 hours, and 2 of them, April and Candace.
Incredible performance. They're so stoked.
It's El Delgado's unofficial winning time, 1 hour, 41 minutes, 49 seconds. April Ziggs, her finish winning time, 1 hour, 57 minutes, 54 seconds. So roughly 16 minutes in between our male and female top winner.
There's our 2 ladies here. This is Lena Ribeiro and
that's Lena in front.
And
number 20.
Number 20
that's
is
Gianisa
Vecco, who she took that inside line. She was up there near that purple line that we had on the GPS. So we'll see these competitors. Looks like that is Stephanie there, just getting on a little bump just ahead. Gianisa here on another one just behind her.
So So this is for 4th and 5th place overall. Valuable points, rankings going into London, coming up in August. Here goes Lena. Approaching the GoPro finish line. And look at Gianisa. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 6 seconds. And the GoPro finish line for Gianisa. Now coming across at 2:02:16.
All these athletes should be very proud of themselves today. That was some tough conditions they had to contend with.
Oh my God. They're going to have stories. I want to hear all of them. All the stories. But what a coming out party for Isel Delgado. This man has been training for over a decade against the world's best. He's been in that B tier for so long. Now he's stepped his game into the A tier.
Yeah, his tactics and his strategy in this race really just shone through above those top competitors, top contenders. And I remember seeing Itzel's name 8 years ago, and he was a great up-and-comer then, young guy from Peru.
2019 in the overall rankings, number 9. He had better distance results than sprint results. Let's look at 2018.
It's like number 15. He came in 15th place.
Yeah, he was 15th place. So he's been progressing through the rankings, moving up, and now, you know, he's definitely in the top 2 heading into London in the overall rankings. And he'll build off this, and he'll train even harder and even more.
So I'm sure Candice and Itzel training together on the Team Infinity. Candice becoming a coach now. Getting some good insights. As we see our next competitors coming in.
Aline?
This could be Aline Adesaka, Brazilian competitor. Super stoked that she's finished this race.
She's more of a SUP surfer, isn't she?
She is more of a SUP surfer, but she's given this a good hard go. She'll cross the line in 6th position.
Unofficial time 2:04:06. Across the GoPro finish line, getting a big hug from Candice Appleby.
It's great to see smiles on all these women's faces.
Any more women? We see some more coming in.
We do see some more coming in, yeah.
That's Juliet.
That's right. Juliana as well, Gonzalez. Here we go. They're running up the beach.
Juliet de Jaime, she was had quite a day yesterday. Coming in 2:04:49. And who's behind her?
On her we have Juliana Gonzalez. Finishing
8th place.
8th place. All the ladies there celebrating their finish.
Don't mind me, I'm writing all this stuff down. Trying to get the top 10 men and women for you, and we'll recap all that for you. And we see some more of our athletes still coming in here. Looks like Abby Baker's coming through.
Yeah, and Dan Miller as well for the men. As we see those competitors out in the distance there, coming around that red buoy. Still foggy out there, Bo.
It still is, and it played a major factor in this race.
And this is Dan Miller.
Still 2:06:10 counting down through this race. You can see he's wobbly coming through the chop here.
Yeah, that board's looking really narrow under his feet too.
And it looks like Abby behind Dan.
Abby Baker.
As we're wrapping up our competition here at Santa Monica, day number 2 of the APP stop number 1, the Santa Monica event, the U.S. Open of SUP surfing, SUP racing, I should say. First of 7 stops on this year's 2022 World Championship run. All right, see a little bit of cramping coming up for Dan.
Looks like it. Yeah, you can see him hopping up to the finish line there. Dan Miller looked to recover after this.
An official time 2:07:18 as he crosses the GoPro finish line. And Abby Baker coming up next here.
There's the winner for the men's there on screen itself. Pumped up.
Big party at the Infinity House tonight.
Sure will be.
Here's Abby Baker.
Stepping off on the sand there, running up to the finish line. Abby put on a good performance yesterday in the sprints as well. Again, here in the distance race, that'll round out the top 9.
Top 9 for the
women.
ladies. I think one more lady still out there.
Yeah, so we have Lindsay Widener, who is taking the inside track on our GPS. She's going to be coming around the pier. There we go, we see the GPS up on the screen there. We still have Lindsay Widener there on the other side of the pier. Raphael Apador.
Soren Preston still out on the course.
Preston, yeah, she's back there on the course, and Ted Weitzman as well for the men.
So we're watching our athletes finish up here. We're trying to
some of the men coming in.
keep track of all of our competitors. Who is this again, Bo?
Just trying to get the jersey number on here. We looks like we have lost the GPS on this one. Competitor number 16.
Don't have a 16 on my chart. I've got a 16 as Candace Appleby. Maybe it's 76. Maybe it's
76.
I don't have a 76. So it could have been a late entry. Good showing though.
Great
Good showing. We had quite a few late entries this morning, yeah. Number 111 right here on screen. He was in the OC1.
That was we won it.
Yeah. Look at that guy. He was powering.
So he might have been one of our open competitors.
Yeah. There's Mo Freitas.
Campbell Carter.
We'll make out this man's number as he comes across. 15, 35. Yeah, he's one of the open race numbers. So we're starting to see a mix of the open race competitors coming on through.
So the open started with the pros. You can enter this race. And along with many of the other APP stops on tour, if you want to come along and compete, we do have other divisions. It's not just for the pros. So do come down. Test your skills against the top athletes in the world.
Yeah, it's been a fun day. It's been a challenging day, and it's been probably a rough day for these athletes.
A rough, yeah. And like you said, both stories, lots of stories to be told tonight. But very foggy conditions. The winds are starting to pick up there as we see this drone footage and we see our competitors coming in.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of our open field SUP competitors, men and women, starting to come through the finish line, doing the same course as the pros.
That's right. I wonder if they followed the same line as the pros as well.
Don't know. That would have been interesting.
You see the lineup of boards there of all the competitors, obviously dropping their board as they run up to the finish line with their paddle. And that's the Santa Monica Pier in the background. Amazing backdrop for this event.
So, Bo, I know you're heading back home to jolly old England. Are you going to get on the roller coaster before you go?
I don't know. Probably going to have the best views today with the fog out there. But I'm always up for a roller coaster in the end.
Good pan around as we were watching all the action coming in through here, the volunteers helping get the boards out of the water. Surf didn't play a factor today.
No. not as it did yesterday.
It was course management and the fog. Those are the big stories here.
Obviously, Itzel and Bodie doing well with course management. Strategies paying off. As we see some of our last competitors here. Rounding the pair.
Well, it's been an exciting 2 days of competition. We're going to try to get an interview with some of our winners down on the beach side. We got Dave Bainey down there below, and once we get word, we're going to throw it down to Mr. Infinity himself and talk to April and Itzel. Get you some interviews and some stories behind what brought them to victory here.
Yeah, it's going to be great to hear from those athletes when we do.
We can tell you who the top 10 men and women were. It's El Delgado in an unofficial time of 1:41.49 in first. Bodie Van Almen in second place. Shrimpy Shuri Araki in third. Danny Ching in fourth. Connor Baxter fifth. Franco takes sixth. Erie Torino in seventh. Tiago in eighth. Michael Booth ninth. And our top 10 man, Tim Oliver, beating Arthur Arukin in 11. Campbell Carter in 12 and Mo Freitas in 13, just to show you how well some of the athletes did against some of the world's best. Then the women, it was a double-double win for April, winning the sprints yesterday and the distance today. Candace Appleby, also a runner-up double-double for her in second place. April's winning time was 1 hour, 57 minutes, 54 seconds. Stephanie Scheidler in third place, Lena Ribeiro in fourth, Gianisa Vecco in fifth, Aline Adisaka in sixth, Juliet Duhaime in seventh, Julianne Gonzalez in eighth, Abby Baker in ninth, and Lindsay Widener will be taking 10th place in the women's distance race today. More athletes rounding the turn buoy.
This could be some of our women athletes, possibly.
I know we got Lindsay still out there. This could be some of our open women athletes too. Why don't you try refresh to see if that does anything for us. We're going back to our GPS screen here in the booth. Pretty much a lot of our athletes have already finished up. Here comes Lindsay coming in here, number 68. Catching our final wave. And you see the long 10-mile paddle.
Takes it out of the legs.
Yeah, took it right out of her legs. But enough to bring her board back in. NSP board. There's one of our open competitors coming in with an Infinity board.
As we see them run up the beach, their legs are in a lot of pain there. So we'll see these athletes jogging up to the finish line. A fantastic effort from all competitors today. We still have the last competitors just coming in on our GPS.
I'd like to thank our sponsors here at the 2022 APP stop number 1 of the racing season year at Santa Monica for the U.S. Open of SUP. $25,000 event for men and women. Our many thanks and mahalos going out to our sponsors, T-Mobile, more 5G bars and more places, Volkswagen Santa Monica, June Shine, and GoPro. So after we wrap up here in Santa Monica, see, look how thick the fog is.
That's so true.
Just 2 blocks in from the pier.
Even 500 yards away, you can't even see.
Yeah. So it was a factor way out here, down south below that purple line.
That's right. As we see the competitors here, Ted Weitzman, we have Rafael Apodaca, finishing up for the men. Soren Preston showed a great showing yesterday in the sprints. Unfortunately today, just in that distance race.
Well, this will be a learning experience for her, you know. Maybe she's more like Casper. She's more of a sprinter than a distance paddler.
Very true.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the year here, Bo. After Santa Monica, points and rankings will be established as we head to number 2 in London.
That's right. London coming up in August, 18 to 21.
Yeah, will be the...
And we'll have the top seeds being ranked for that event. That's going to be taking place at Canary Wharf, so the financial and business district of London.
And then still racing the distance on the Thames River?
I think they are this time. Yeah. They do have a lot of canal systems there at Canary Wharf, so we'll have to see the exact route they'll be taking.
Then a brand new stop this year, stop number 3, will be happening in September 23 through 25. It'll be in South Korea at Busan.
Yeah, amazing event there was held just a few weeks ago as a qualifying event for the Busan SUP Open, taking place the end of September.
And then we head over to Maui in October, the 5th through the 9th. Beautiful island of Maui with the downwind run of the Malibu Gulch Run. And then the sprint races held at classic Hokipa Beach Park, where surf could be an issue, could be board size, overboard size, it could be small like this. You just never know when the swells hit.
That's right. So moving from those city festivals to that ocean racing arena in Maui.
Yeah. And then back to Paris. That'll be December 2nd through the 4th. Determined location a week later, December 8th through the 10th, and then the final over in Doha in Qatar. That will be in February. Let's go down beachside and check in with Dave Bainey. He's got our male and female winners. Take it away, Dave. Okay, you stand here and I'll stand here. That's the pre-check. There you go.
Let's go.
All right, Dave, you're on. We won't be able to hear. We can't hear. He's getting the sound system. Candace, photobombing. Thanks so much, Dave. Congratulations to April. Not only winning the distance today, Bo, but the sprints yesterday, a first. She's on a mission to win the 2022 APP World Championship.
She's sitting on top of the rankings at the moment. Big boost of confidence heading into the next event in London. And we'll hopefully see April there to continue on her roll.
Yeah, and how about Isel Delgado? You know, coming up through the rankings in 2018, 2019, we had a 3-year intermission due to the pandemic. And coming out with smart course management here, him and Bodie playing the straight line game and winning the distance race today.
Yeah, Itzel and Bodie just ran their own race today. It was really interesting to see their strategy going into this race. Obviously, they knew that they just wanted to paddle in a straight line. Wasn't much wind today, not much current either. That fog was playing a huge part, but I think that local knowledge, Itzel spending a lot of time here, just played into his winning today.
Well, it was an exciting 2-day competition with Connor Baxter winning the men's sprint. Connor coming into the distance a 5th place, so Connor could be the overall leader. We'll have to wait for the award ceremony happening on the stage here at the Pier 360 event, as happening here all week. And as we regroup, you can find the rankings probably by tomorrow at appworldtour.com. But I think first off, we had a very successful event, and it's good to be back in the water.
Fantastic to be back in the water. This is the first stop back for the APP World Tour, and I'm really looking forward to the whole season, Bo. It's going to be a great charge for the world champion.
Well, we're going to sign off for now. I'm Bo Hodge along with Bo Nixon. Thank you for joining us for stop number 1 here at Santa Monica for the US SUP Open. We'll see you in August in London for stop number 2. Aloha. Good job.
What we're trying to do is give our guests a unique experience. We basically want to have them leave our restaurants for the better. The menu is based on the principles of Dr. Andrew Weil's anti-inflammatory diet. It's versatile. There's something there for everybody.